Hi everyone, please subscribe to my channel. Blood Immortal Venerable. See playlist for other chapters and novels. Join now our Telegram channel now and enjoy exclusive early access. t.me/blood_immortal_official. I do not translate the novels. Credits goes to original translator and author of the novel. I only make it as an audiobook so it would be easier to just listen while doing other things. Credits goes to the author of the novel. I convert stories to audiobook for mental health, for multitasking purpose, for accessibility and time saving. Listening to audiobook is also beneficial for people who have disability. It improves our listening skills and improve our English comprehension, vocabulary and other things. So, thank you for listening. Thank you and thank you very much for your support. Chapter 541 The Supreme Level, The Road Against the Sky. In the past few decades, in addition to cultivating the chaos body refinement technique to the 6th level peak realm, Yi Tian has also perfected the primordial scale armor and primordial vine, the two chaotic divine tome secret techniques. The power of the divine tome is even more powerful. In addition, Yi Tian has also made progress in the Tao of the sword. Originally, his Tianyu saber was already the strongest ordinary Tao of the blade. But now, Yi Tian has further perfected the Tianyu saber, trying to perfect the Tianyu saber to the pinnacle level. This step is very difficult, but for Yi Tian, who has a clear path and cultivation method, it can be done. He used the Tianyu saber countless times, and in the process of using it, he reduced the miscellaneous contents of the Tianyu saber's unique technique, and only sought the law of the strongest blade. Countless times of swinging the knife made Yi Tian and the knife seem to be completely integrated, and his understanding of the knife became deeper and deeper. However, Yi Tian is still a long way from creating a peak-level Tao of the blade mastery. This day, Yi Tian called the Gloom Lord. Master of the Darkness, I want to go back to the Supreme Human Race Hall and use the Chaos Tower of the Supreme Human Race to attack the last layer of the Chaos Body Refinement Art. Yi Tian said. Your Highness, has your Chaos Body Refinement technique reached the peak of the 6th floor? The Dark Lord was extremely shocked. Not bad. Yi Tian nodded. Okay, I'll take you back to the Supreme Hall of Human Race. The Dark Lord said quickly. This is a big deal. Once Yi Tian has successfully reached the 7th layer realm of the Chaos Body Refinement technique, he will be the only human being who has cultivated the Chaos Body Refinement technique to the 29th realm of perfection. Swish, Yi Tian and the Gloom Lord have left, and others don't know it at all. Although the solar system is blocked, Yi Tian is not within the scope of the blockade. If he wants to leave, he can leave at any time without restraint. It didn't take long for Yi Tian to return to the Supreme Hall of Human Race. The Dark Lord is responsible for opening the Chaos Tower and does not require Yi Tian to apply. Soon, the Chaos Tower opened. This time, the 4th floor of the Chaos Tower is opened, which is the highest floor of the Chaos Tower. The entire Chaos Tower has only 4 floors. Originally, the 3rd floor could meet Yi Tian's requirements, but the Human Race Supreme Hall opened the highest floor for safety. The contribution Yi Tian has brought to the human race is simply unimaginable. Although the cost of opening the 4th layer Chaos Tower is very high, it is nothing to the entire human race. Therefore, the Human Race Supreme Hall did not hesitate to open the 4th floor of the Chaos Tower. The opening of the 4th floor of the Chaos Tower requires the Supreme's approval, and this time it was Kunwu Supreme who nodded and agreed. Boom! The 4th floor of the Chaos Tower opened, and Yi Tian came to the Chaos Tower under the leadership of the Dark Lord. Immediately, he entered the 4th floor of the Chaos Tower, preparing to retreat and practice, and hit the 7th layer of the Chaos Body Refinement technique. The 4th floor of the Chaos Tower. Yi Tian sat cross-legged, ran the Chaos Body Refinement Art, and began to absorb the Chaos Primordial Chi and the Chaos Origin Chi on the 4th floor of the Chaos Tower. In terms of purity, the chaotic vitality here far exceeds the 1st and 2nd floors of the Chaos Tower. And the total amount here is too much. As soon as it is absorbed a little, countless chaotic energy pours into the body, as if to burst Yi Tian. Time passes day by day. Yi Tian didn't turn on time acceleration, and just practiced normally. 15th day, Yi Tian suddenly felt the opportunity to make a breakthrough, and suddenly ran the 7th layer technique of Chaos Body Refinement technique. Boom! The Chaos Body Refinement technique broke through, and Yi Tian's body also broke the limit and entered another level. At the same time, Yi Tian's body was madly absorbing chaotic energy, increasing his physical strength and strength. Yuan Li is getting more and more pure, and the soul is getting stronger and stronger. A few days passed in the blink of an eye, and Yi Tian's breakthrough stabilized. At this time, his body was much stronger than before, perhaps because Yi Tian became the first immortal clan, possessed the great luck of immortal clan, and practiced 2 sets of movements of the 18 golden body art, so this time he hit the increase brought by the 7th layer of chaos body refinement art as far more than before. At the same time, Yi Tian really touched a limit. This limit seems to be the shackles between the eternal child of the ancient universe and the son of the supreme universe. As long as you break this shackle, you can step into the child of the universe at the supreme level. However, it is too difficult to become the son of the universe at the emperor level. Master Xuanyuan also said that it is impossible to become the son of the universe at the emperor level. This is restricted by the rules of the universe, because at the emperor level, the physical body, yuan force and soul are not perfect, cannot become the son of the supreme level universe. Yi Tian had also talked with his own guard, the Dark Lord, and the Dark Lord did not think that the emperor level could become the son of the supreme level universe, so Yi Tian should not waste time attacking the son of the supreme level universe. But Yi Tian firmly believes that he can do it. For the next 10 days, Yi Tian continued to cultivate on the 4th floor of the Chaos Pagoda to stabilize the realm of the 7th floor of the Chaos Body Refinement Art. In the blink of an eye, 10 days passed. Yi Tian came out of the Chaos Tower. As soon as he came out, the Master of Darkness informed him that Kunwu Supreme had summoned him. So, Yi Tian came to the Kunwu Hall of the Supreme Kunwu. Yi Tian, did you break through the 7th layer of the Chaos Body Refinement Art? Kunwu Supreme asked. Yes. Yi Tian nodded. The mixed body art has reached the level, and you have hit the god level. There is no point in staying in the emperor level period. Kun Wujun said. Yi Tian hurriedly said, Kunwu Supreme, I have reached the limit of the eternal child of the universe, and I still want to attack the child of the universe at the supreme level. Do you really want to attack the son of the supreme universe? Kunwu Supreme asked. Yes. Yi Tian nodded, and then asked again. Could it be that Kunwu Supreme thinks that the emperor level can impact the son of the universe at the supreme level? Kunwu Supreme was silent for a while, and then said, I do know some secrets. In fact, if you practice according to your current cultivation method, there is almost no way to break the shackles and become the son of the universe at the emperor level, because the universe will hinder you. To become the son of the supreme level universe, although you have reached the limit now, you will find that it is difficult for you to make progress in other areas, and there is no way to make further progress. You can only continue to progress if you hit the god level. You continue to progress, and you break the shackles and become the supreme class, but you are not the son of the universe. It is the supreme level, but not the son of the universe. Yi Tian frowned, not knowing what Kunwu Supreme said. I saw Kunwu Supreme continued. The son of the universe is a title bestowed by the love of the universe. The child of the universe is always blessed by the universe, so it is difficult to detach from the universe, even if the cultivation talent allows a person to cultivate to the supreme level or above, it is difficult to escape the universe, because the universe does not allow you to be detached. In this way, no matter how high your cultivation talent is, it is difficult to break the shackles in the universe and become a level above the supreme level. In fact, many masters are not clear, and only some supreme level understand. If you want to detach from the universe, you can't grow up along the original intention of the universe, but you have to take another path and violate the rules of the universe. According to our guess, if you violate the rules of the universe at the emperor level, you can become your highness at the supreme level, but you are no longer the son of the universe, and you will be suppressed by the universe, the speed of cultivation will be slowed down by 10 times or even 100 times, and your luck will also be reduced a lot. Of course, you are the first immortal race, relying on the luck of the immortal race, also if you can make up for your luck, you don't need to worry about this. There is one last problem, that is, every time you break through a great realm, you will encounter a thunder calamity. Thunder tribulation. Yi Tian's heart moved. He originally thought that there was no thunder tribulation in this universe, but he did not expect that if he took another path, there would be thunder tribulation. Kunwu Supreme continued. The thunder tribulation is extremely terrifying, even more terrifying than the thunder calamity you encountered in the Supreme Mountain. If your background is insufficient, it will be difficult to truly grow up, and you will fall under the thunder calamity. But if you break the thunder tribulation time and time again, you will be born again after bathing in the thunder tribulation, and your ultimate achievement will be limitless. It is even expected to become an existence above 933, that is also the goal of all our Supreme. Kunwu Supreme, does anyone in the universe take this path? Yi Tian asked. There is one, Kunwu Supreme said. It is the one from the Protoss, that is, the first His Royal Highness to cross the Supreme Mountain for 10 tribulations at the Emperor level. He was stronger than you at the beginning, but at the cost of serious injuries. After 10 tribulations, he did not use time to reverse. In the end, he chose to attack the supreme level and gave up becoming the son of the universe. It is said that the one died under the thunder tribulation, but no one knows exactly how. But the existence of that one, it also proves that this path is feasible, and according to the deductions of many supreme beings, it is enough to prove that this road can transcend the universe. Yi Tian, think clearly. With your talent, there is definitely a great hope to become a supreme. If you choose the other road is difficult and dangerous, and it is easy to fall under the thunder tribulation, but there is a glimmer of hope for detachment, you choose it yourself. Yi Tian was silent, thought about it for a long time, and finally said, I choose to take the road against the sky. This is not a spur of the moment, but the result of careful consideration. He has the talent of copying, and even upgraded all the 12 basic attribute talents to the God level. If he follows the steps step by step, he can definitely hit the supreme level with his cultivation talent. But under the suppression of the universe, even if his cultivation talent reaches the supreme level, it is estimated that it is difficult to become a powerhouse above the supreme level. But if he takes that road against the sky, he has great confidence that he can become a supreme being, even an existence above the supreme, and transcend the universe. Once beyond the universe, even if the universe falls into a catastrophe in the future, he will not die, and he can even save his family. And the Supreme Being is powerless in the face of the great annihilation of the universe. He was reborn and acquired the heaven-defying talents such as the copying talent. The God race dared to take this road, why can't he go? Feeling Yi Tian's resolute intention, Kunwu Supreme nodded. Okay, since you have chosen, I will help you hit the supreme level. Chapter 542 Breakthrough, His Royal Highness. Ask for a monthly ticket. Kunwu Supreme, I have chosen to take this road against the sky, please tell me how to become the Supreme Highness. Yi Tian asked solemnly. Kunwu Supreme said solemnly, there is only one way for you to become His Highness at the Emperor level, and that is to go to a place where the origin of the universe cannot peep. I have reached the limit of His Royal Highness the Eternal Ancient Grade, so I missed that opportunity. Now there is only one place, where even the origin of the universe cannot be spied on, it is suitable for you to hit the Supreme Grade. Where? Yi Tian was very curious. The biggest forbidden place in the universe, Destruction Abyss. When Kunwu Supreme mentioned the Abyss of Destruction, he was full of dignified colors. Under Kunwu Supreme's narration, Yi Tian gradually understood the Abyss of Destruction. The Abyss of Destruction seems to be the dark side of the universe, gathering all kinds of negative energies, with the energy of death and destruction all over it, but it lacks vitality. There is not even a trace of vitality there, and there is no trace of vitality in the Abyss of Destruction for hundreds of millions of miles. That area is like a real purgatory, and there is no life. Not only is there no vitality, but even the laws of the universe cannot be extended. In the Abyss of Destruction, as long as you rely on the strength of your body, the power of Yuan, and the power of innate talent, you cannot use the power of the law, and the divine power actually contains the power of the law. So the powerhouse above the God level enters the Abyss of Destruction and is suppressed very much. Even the Supreme Powerhouse dare not go deep into the depths of the Abyss of Destruction. Rumor has it that the Abyss of Destruction is the source of the great destruction of the universe. Once the universe reaches the end stage, the Abyss of Destruction will be the starting point and the entire universe will fall into the great destruction. Due to the special nature of the Abyss of Destruction, the origin of the universe cannot spy here, so all the actions here cannot be seen by the origin of the universe. Because of this, if Yi Tian wants to hit the Emperor level to the Supreme level, he can completely destroy the Abyss. But once the impact is successful and leaves the Abyss of Destruction, Yi Tian's situation will naturally be spied on by the origin of the universe, and he will lose his identity as the son of the universe. Although his identity has been lost, Yi Tian's strength will not decrease in the slightest. The origin of the universe operates in accordance with the rules and does not have a consciousness similar to that of a living being, so the origin of the universe cannot truly punish someone like Yi Tian who defies the sky. Yi Tian, since you have decided, then I will take you into the Abyss of Destruction. Kunwu Supreme Road. Thank you Kunwu Supreme, Yi Tian said. The Abyss of Destruction is very far from the human race area. If he goes alone, even if he is protected by the Dark Lord, it is more dangerous. After all, it is necessary to pass through the territories of many cosmic clans, and only the Supreme can quietly lead him to the Abyss of Destruction. Immediately, Kunwu Supreme took Yi Tian to leave the human race Supreme Hall and headed for the Abyss of Destruction. The Abyss of Destruction is located in the central area of the universe, not too far from the black hole in the center of the universe, but the distance is actually very far away for Yi Tian. After 10 days, Kunwu Supreme brought Yi Tian to an area. In this area, there is no trace of vitality, only a very strong undead spirit and destructive energy. It is difficult for ordinary people to replenish energy here, but Yi Tian can replenish energy. He is a chaotic fairy body, which can absorb most of the energy of the universe, and he also has a top-level necromantic talent, which can absorb the energy of the undead. Certainly, he was also suppressed in this area, because the attacks that contained the law could not be displayed, and even the power of the Tao of the sword was greatly reduced. Because Yi Tian's unique knowledge of the Tao of the blade is still at the level of mobilizing the law of the sword, and has not yet reached the level of creating the law by himself, if it reaches the level of creating the law of the sword by himself, even if he is anywhere, he can still display the power of the law. After entering the area near the Abyss of Destruction, Supreme Kunwu continued to advance with Yi Tian, and soon came to the entrance of the Abyss of Destruction. Boom! There was a deafening sound from the front, and it was continuous. Yi Tian's consciousness swept away, only to see a dark area ahead, terrifying chaotic energy raging, and the violent destructive energy seemed to tear everything apart. This is the Abyss of Destruction. With your cultivation base and strength, as long as you don't go deep into the Abyss of Destruction, it's fine. Due to some special reasons, we supreme beings cannot enter the Abyss of Destruction, otherwise it will cause some special changes, so you can only go in alone. Remember, don't go deep, just stay on the outer edge of the shattered abyss. Kunwu Supreme reminded. Kunwu Supreme, I understand. 1. Yi Tian nodded. Immediately, Yi Tian entered the Abyss of Destruction, and his figure was quickly covered by the energy of destruction. After entering the Abyss of Destruction, Yi Tian opened up various defense methods, and also displayed the primordial scale armor, while running the Chaos Body Refinement art to absorb the energy of destruction and make up for his own consumption. Not long after entering the Abyss of Destruction, Yi Tian chose a slightly calmer area, and immediately sat cross-legged and began to practice. In fact, Yi Tian was already at the limit of His Highness the Eternal Ancient Grade, and he only needed a little improvement to break through the bottleneck. But in the outside world, the origin of the universe has inhibited Yi Tian's breakthrough, so it is difficult to make progress. At this time, Yi Tian sensed that the shackles in the darkness began to loosen, as if it would be broken at a touch. Practice the Chaos Body Refinement Technique. Although Yi Tian's Chaos Body Refinement Technique has broken through to the 7th floor, it is still far from the 7th floor consummation, and he can continue to practice. It's just that before, Yi Tian was under the suppression of the origin of the universe, and it was difficult to continue to improve the realm of the Chaos Body Refinement Technique, so there was no way to rely on the Chaos Body Refinement Technique to continue to improve the physical strength. But now, without the suppression of the origin of the universe, Yi Tian's speed of cultivating the Chaos Body Refinement art has suddenly accelerated many times. Boom! The energy of the dead spirit, the energy of destruction, and the various chaotic materials that Yi Tian had already prepared, poured into Yi Tian's body one by one. At the same time, Yi Tian also entered the chaotic Black Lotus to absorb the chaotic vitality escaping from the chaotic Black Lotus to cultivate. In such a situation, Yi Tian's physical strength, yuan force and soul are all growing. 1 year, 3 years, plus hash. In the 15th year, Yi Tian suddenly broke the limit, and the whole person has undergone earth-shaking changes. Boom! The infinite light still shattered the abyss, extending beyond the shattered abyss. At the same time, a terrifying phantom appeared on Yi Tian's body. This phantom overlooked the void, and a pair of pupils seemed to contain all things in the universe. Destroyed beyond the abyss. Kunwu Supreme, who had been waiting there, saw this scene and murmured, Supreme Phantom, Yi Tian successfully broke the restriction and became His Highness Supreme. We humans' first Emperor level Supreme appeared, and we didn't know it. It is right or wrong to do so. Certainly, from the bottom of his heart, he also hopes that Yi Tian can be detached. Human beings do not lack a Supreme, but they lack a detached person. If Yi Tian stepped into the Supreme, or even above the Supreme, as a detached person, what would be the difference to the human race? The value is far more than a few Supremes, and even more than all Supremes. At that time, humans can even truly surpass the Protoss. Destroy the abyss. Yi Tian broke the restriction, and the whole person was in a special state. In such a state, Yi Tian involuntarily started to run the Chaos Body Refinement Technique, and the progress of the Chaos Body Refinement Technique reached an unbelievable level. The 7th level entry peak of the Chaos Body Refinement Technique. The 7th layer of Chaos Body Refinement Technique. The 7th layer of Chaos Body Refinement Technique. The 7th layer of the Chaos Body Refinement Technique is complete. When the 7th level of the Chaos Body Refinement Technique was completed, Yi Tian involuntarily began to comprehend the Heavenly Moon Saber, the unique technique of the Tao of the Blade. Since he couldn't comprehend the law of the sword here, Yi Tian went to the point of creating the law better. As time passed, Yi Tian's body slowly gave birth to the law of the knife. This is not the law of the knife under the origin of the universe, but the law that Yi Tian has accumulated and made by himself. Although it is very weak, it is his own law. According to this trend, once Yi Tian has truly condensed his own source of the law of the blade, he can easily create a peak-level Tao of the blade mastery. It is a pity that Yi Tian has withdrawn from that state before he has really condensed the source of the law of the knife. Opening his eyes, Yi Tian sighed deeply. It's a pity, I couldn't condense the origin of the law of the sword, but I successfully created the law of the sword, and the law of the sword has changed from control to through creation. Great progress has been made. As long as I continue to work hard, even if I cannot condense the origin of the law of the knife, I can create a peak-level unique art of the Tao of the blade. Standing up, Yi Tian moved a bit. At this time, he found that after completing the 7th layer of the Chaos Body Refinement Technique, his physical strength reached an unbelievable level, as if he could seriously injure himself beforehand. His Royal Highness, I have reached it. Yi Tian was extremely excited. Nuo how Yi Tian's strength has improved a lot since he became His Royal Highness, but in a short period of time, he couldn't continue to improve. So, it's useless for him to stay here. So, Yi Tian flew out of the abyss of destruction. Before leaving, he took a look at the depths of the abyss of destruction. He really wanted to go in and have a look, but when he thought of Kunwu Supreme's reminder, he still didn't want to die. Soon, Yi Tian flew out of the abyss of destruction, and Kunwu Supreme appeared in front of him. Yes, Yi Tian, you have successfully become the Supreme class. Kunwu Supreme said with satisfaction. Thank you Kunwu Supreme, if it wasn't for you, I would still be blindly hitting the Supreme level. Yi Tian said gratefully. At this time, Yi Tian suddenly felt a kind of gaze, and then his luck belonging to the Son of the Universe was instantly deprived. In addition, I have also lost something inexplicably. He knew that he had been deprived of the identity of the Son of the Universe by the origin of the universe. Not only did his luck plummet, but his cultivation speed would also decrease many times. However, this is nothing. His own cultivation talent is the highest level, far surpassing other children of the universe, and he also has a god-level time talent. Even if the cultivation speed is reduced many times, he still surpasses other children of the universe. So, it didn't affect him much. Let's go back. Venerable Kunwu left here with him and headed for the human race area. Chapter 543 Chaos Ancient World, God Level. Open black lens bracket full order close black lens bracket. Returning to the Supreme Hall of the human race, Yi Tian first stabilized his realm, and then immediately thought about the next path of cultivation. At the Emperor level, he has already reached the end, and he can continue to improve, but no matter how he improves, he can only improve his strength slightly, and it has no essential benefits to himself. Because the Emperor level Supreme level is already a level that breaks the limitations of the universe, it is still the Supreme level to continue to improve. Therefore, he will not waste time and continue to stay at the Emperor level. Next, you need to hit the God level. It is not difficult to become a God level. With Yi Tian's cultivation talent and potential, he can easily become a God level. If he uses the standards of the Immortal Clan, it is the Immortal level. He needs to transform his body into a real immortal body, his Yuan force into immortal energy, and his soul into immortal soul. Of course, in essence, the immortal body, immortal power, and immortal soul are not much different from divine power, divine body, and divine soul, but the immortal body is more powerful, just like the divine body of the Protoss is stronger than that of ordinary races. And the body of the gods of the demon race is not called a god body, but a demon body. Due to the physical reasons of each race, the gods of each race are different, the human race is gradually transformed into the immortal race, and the title may also change in the future. Yi Tian doesn't want to become a god level directly, he wants to become a special god level. At this time, he thought of the ancient chaotic tree on the earth. Now, the ancient chaotic tree has been successfully transformed, and he can completely use the ancient chaotic tree to open up the ancient world of chaos in the body when it hits the god level. In this way, he will have almost inexhaustible divine power in future battles, the battle will never be exhausted, and he can continue to fight forever, which is of great significance to him. Thinking of this, Yi Tian prepared to return to the earth and use the ancient chaotic tree on the earth to open up the ancient chaotic world, thus becoming a special god level. Afterwards, Yi Tian and the Dark Lord left the human race supreme palace and returned to Earth not long after. Kunlun Mountains, underground space. 950. This place has been blocked by the Dark Lord, and no one else can come in except him. At this time, Yi Tian looked at the ancient chaotic tree in front of him, showing a satisfied look. The ancient chaotic tree is very rare. If you encounter it, you will encounter it. If you don't encounter it, you can't create it. Even the Master of Darkness does not have an ancient chaotic tree. It is conceivable that Yi Tian was lucky enough to encounter an ancient chaotic tree. I'm starting to hit the god level. I've stayed at the emperor level for too long. Yi Tian couldn't help sighing. Boom. Under the control of Yi Tian's power, the ancient chaotic tree slowly separated from the earth and gradually pulled up. When the entire ancient chaotic tree broke off the ground and floated in the air, Yi Tian urged the world of Dantian, sending out a suction force. Swish. The huge chaotic ancient tree entered Yi Tian's Dantian time and slowly took root in the Dantian world. The first step is complete. Then, Yi Tian began to attack the god level. I saw that his body quickly transformed into an immortal body, Yuan force transformed into immortal energy, and his soul gradually transformed into an immortal soul. Countless fairy lights came out from Yi Tian's body, illuminating the entire underground space. At this time, Yi Tian's aura was getting stronger and stronger, and every second was getting stronger. When the emperor level becomes the god level, the strength will increase 100 times, and the same is true in other aspects, which is equivalent to 100 times the strength of the entire body. Yi Tian's original body is very against the sky, and if it grows 100 times, it is terrifying. Soon, Yi Tian's body was successfully transformed into an immortal body, and the physique of the chaotic immortal body was officially activated. And Yuan Li has also become immortal strength, and the soul has become an immortal soul that looks like the real one. At this moment, Yi Tian officially entered the divine level. At the same time, Yi Tian's physical transformation is not over yet. Dantian world. Because Yi Tian hit the CJFH god level, the world of Dantian began to expand wildly, and at this moment Yi Tian stimulated the power of the ancient chaotic tree and instantly fixed the world of Dantian. The bigger the world is, the better. If it's not stable, the bigger the world is, it's not as good as the palm-sized space. Yi Tian has now settled on the world of Dantian, and began to use the ancient chaotic tree to release the source of the ancient chaotic tree, and merged with the world of Dantian, thereby transforming the world of Dantian step by step, turning the world of Dantian into the ancient world of chaos. Kaka kaka, the branches of the ancient chaotic tree gradually shattered and merged into the Dantian world. The space of the Dantian world became more and more stable, and gradually land, mountains, and forests began to appear. These are all transformed by chaotic ancient trees, not real land, mountains and forests. As the origin of the ancient chaotic tree is more and more integrated into the Dantian world has undergone a fundamental qualitative change. I don't know how long it took. The entire ancient chaotic tree, together with its origin, was completely integrated into the world of Dantian. The area of the Dantian world has not increased too much, but it is 10,000 times more stable and stronger than the ordinary god-level Dantian world. Boom! In the center of the ancient chaotic world, an ancient chaotic well slowly evolved. But in the end, the real chaotic ancient well did not evolve, but only a phantom. However, with the growth of Yi Tian's cultivation and the evolution of the ancient world of chaos, the ancient well of chaos will truly evolve. The ancient world of chaos was born. It will continuously absorb the vitality and various energies from the outside world, thus giving birth to a large amount of chaotic energy. These chaotic energies will be preserved in the ancient world of chaos. Once fighting, it can be transformed into Yi Tian's immortal power at any time, can even supplement Yi Tian's physical strength. It can be said that as long as the energy of the ancient chaos is not exhausted, Yi Tian can fight for a long time. But it is too difficult to exhaust the energy of the ancient chaos. Yi Tian was about to get up, but suddenly, the chaotic black lotus sealed on his wrist ran into Yi Tian's chaotic ancient world. This change completely shocked Yi Tian. The chaotic black lotus was sealed into his body by the Supremes, and it stands to reason that there is no way to move it away, but now it has broken the seal of the Supremes and ran to the ancient world of chaos. What does this represent? The chaotic black lotus is probably beyond the concept of the Supremes, even more mysterious and powerful than the Supreme Treasure. Yi Tian thought abruptly. He silently pays attention to the changes in the ancient chaos and chaos black lotus. He can't intervene now, otherwise it will easily cause bad changes. Time passed slowly, and the chaotic black lotus seemed to find a home and gradually took root in the ancient world of chaos. Gradually, a lake appeared in the ancient chaotic world, and the chaotic Black Lotus quietly floated in the lake. With the chaos Black Lotus taking root in the ancient chaos realm, Yi Tian obviously sensed that the space in the ancient chaos realm was many times more stable, and a barrier was created that could prevent others from spying on the situation in the ancient chaos realm. This is a good thing for Yi Tian. In addition, Yi Tian felt that the ancient world of chaos was growing little by little. Although the growth rate was very slow, it was indeed growing. You must know that even in the ancient world of chaos, Yi Tian can only grow and evolve in the ancient world of chaos only if he keeps practicing and breaking through the realm. But now, he has not cultivated, and the ancient world of chaos has grown and evolved automatically. You may not be able to see it for a day or two, but as time goes by, the speed at which the ancient chaotic world evolves is unbelievable. The side effect of the chaotic Black Lotus, he keeps my chaotic ancient world in the process of growth and evolution. This effect alone is too terrifying, and must not be known to others. Yi Tian secretly said. With a breakthrough in cultivation, Yi Tian no longer stayed in the underground space, flew out of here, and returned to the outside world. As soon as he returned to the outside world, a robbery cloud appeared in the sky. Yi Tian's face changed, and immediately flew out of the earth and came to space. Boom! A thunderstorm is coming. Sure enough, I have stepped on the road against the sky. Every time I break through a great realm, I need to go through a thunder calamity. Yi Tian secretly said. Although the god-level thunder tribulation is not very terrifying, it is not weak at all. There are only 3 thunder tribulations this time, but each of them is many times more terrifying than the last thunder tribulation of the Supreme Mountain. However, Yi Tian's strength is far beyond that before, so he is not very afraid of these 3 thunder tribulations. Boom! The first thunder tribulation is coming. Yi Tian split it with a knife, and the remaining thunder tribulation bombarded Yi Tian's body, only slightly injured Yi Tian. Then, the second and third thunder tribulations came one by one. Yi Tian went all out and successfully survived, but the injury on his body was even heavier. Yi Tian just sat cross-legged in the midst of 2 fast, and began to rest and heal. A few hours later, Yi Tian's injury basically recovered. Congratulations to His Highness for breaking through to become a god. The Dark Lord appeared and congratulated him. But the next moment, his expression changed slightly. As a master, the god level should have no secrets in front of him, and even the soul space can never hide from him. But now, he couldn't spy on Yi Tian's Dantian world. He knew that Yi Tian used the ancient chaos of chaos to open up the ancient world of chaos, but even the ancient world of chaos could not hide his prying eyes. He didn't ask. After all, this involved Yi Tian's secret. If he asked rashly, Yi Tian would definitely feel uncomfortable. Although he is now one of the high-level people of the human race, he is also Yi Tian's bodyguard and must not overstep his duties. Master of the Darkness, I will retreat and cultivate for a period of time, and I will raise my cultivation to the 9th rank of God level as soon as possible. Yi Tian said. That's right, His Highness really needs to raise his cultivation base to the 9th rank of God rank as soon as possible, otherwise it will affect the combat power of His Royal Highness Invincible rank Hengu rank. The Dark Lord nodded and said. He didn't know that Yi Tian had become the supreme rank, that's why he said that. Yi Tian also didn't explain. The less people know about him becoming the Supreme Highness, the better. However, he has just become a god level, and his current cultivation is only the first order god level, and his combat power is not a god level supreme level highness, but Yi Tian believes that it will not take too long for him to return to his god level supreme level highness. Back at the Tian Pavilion, Yi Tian turned on the 300-fold time acceleration. After the time talent was raised to the god level, his time acceleration ability was increased to 300 times. What is the probability of 300 times the time acceleration? Yi Tian's cultivation speed has increased by 300 times compared to the same level, and this is not counting the increase in other aspects. Accelerating cultivation by 300 times the time and adding Yi Tian's top level 1 talent, even under the U system, his cultivation speed has reached the level of a horse. A few months later in the real world, Yi Tian left. At this time, his cultivation has reached the level of the 9th rank of God. However, his current cultivation base is still not stable, and he has not gone through a god-level battle, and his cultivation base has not been transformed into combat power for a while. Therefore, in the next long period of time, Yi Tian's cultivation base will basically maintain this level, and will not attack the true god level. In the years to come, Yi Tian basically stayed on Earth, and often let his great god level guards learn from him. It can be said that with Yi Tian's current combat power, there are not many true god-level opponents, and even the guardians of the great god level can only be on a tie with Yi Tian. You must know that those great gods who can become his guards are also very powerful among the same rank. It can only be said that Yi Tian is too powerful. Once Yi Tian becomes the pinnacle of the true god level, it will even be enough to fight against some galaxy-level powerhouses. Chapter 544 Zon Level Area. Open black lens bracket. Ask for a monthly ticket. Close black lens bracket. In a blink of an eye. The time has come for Earth's Centennial Immortal Clan plan. At this time, humans on Earth have basically become Immortal Clan. Only a few centenarians have not become Immortal Clan for various reasons, but it does not affect the overall situation. Although it was a little short of the expected goal, as long as a few years later, when the old people who did not become immortals passed away, the Earth would be full of immortals. However, the Earth Immortal pilot project is complete. Although the plan was completed, Yi Tian still did not lift the blockade. He needed to return to the human race Supreme Hall and wait for the human race's second step plan. Master of the Darkness, let's go back. Yi Tian called out. The Dark Lord appeared in front of Yi Tian and nodded. His Royal Highness, let's go. The Lord of Darkness and Yi Tian set off for the Supreme Hall of the human race. As for the 10 cosmic gods still guarding here, the 10 great gods and Jin Chen, true monarchs still remain on Earth. Soon, Yi Tian returned to the Supreme Hall of human race and met the Supreme Kunwu. Meet the Supreme Kunwu, Yi Tian said respectfully. When Kunwu Supreme saw Yi Tian, he nodded with satisfaction. Yes, in a few days, you will conduct the assessment in the Zon level area, enter the Zon level area, and become your highness in the Zon level area. Yi Tian understands. Yi Tian replied. Immediately, Yi Tian asked about the progress of the immortal race plan. Kunwu Supreme said. At present, some pilot projects have basically been successful, and many clansmen have been transformed into immortal clans, but compared with the number of human clans, these numbers are still too small. The current second step plan is to conduct pilot projects based on forces. For example, in the Supreme Hall of the human race, everyone has been transformed into an immortal race, and the great forces of the sanctuary have also been transformed into immortal races one by one, and all the human beings in some worlds that are secretly controlled by the major forces have also been transformed into immortal races. The top powers of the human race then transform step by step towards the weaker forces, and finally most of the forces in the human race area are transformed into immortals, and then the entire human race is transformed into immortals. Yi Tian hurriedly said. Kunwu Supreme, in this way, it's easy to be exposed, right? No way, exposure is certain. After all, it is impossible not to expose the countless human beings who have transformed the 36 domains of the human race. But at present, our human race has also made some countermeasures, such as blocking the territory and prohibiting other aliens from entering the human area. Even affiliated races are not allowed to enter the territory of the human race. In addition, we also used a few Xeon treasures. Oversee the 36 domains of the human race. In this way, the risk of exposure can be reduced. Of course, during this period, human beings are also forbidden to leave the territory of the human race. Even you are not allowed to leave during this time, Kunwu Supreme said. Yi Tian nodded and felt that this method was okay. Immediately, Yi Tian left the Kunwu temple and returned to Earth. Then, Yi Tian let the Dark Master contact the blockade, and reminded the human race on Earth not to expose the immortal race. And non-true gods are not allowed to leave the Earth, only the powerhouses of true gods can leave the Earth and enter the outside world. This is also to prevent a large number of gods on the Earth from causing shock to the outside world, thereby causing peeping from the outside world, and causing the immortal race to be exposed. Judging from Kunwu Supreme's plan, other forces in the galaxy would need to wait for a long time to transform into immortals, so they need to be kept secret for the time being. After dealing with the Earth matters, Yi Tian left and would not return in a short time. As for the safety of the Earth, he is not so worried. At present, there are a large number of gods on the Earth, and there are even many true gods. It is only because of limited time that no great gods have been born. But Yi Tian still left 10 great gods and 1 galaxy to stay on the Earth, and the strength of the Earth is enough to sweep the major forces of the galaxy. Therefore, Yi Tian is not worried about the safety of the Earth at all. Moreover, several Xeon treasures of the human race monitor the 36 regions of the human race, and the Earth is one of the pilots, and the focus is being monitored. If a powerful alien sneaks into this place, it will be discovered immediately, and there is no danger at all. So, Yi Tian left the Earth at ease. The human race is supreme. Yi Tian returned, first returned to his cultivation tower in Bibo Lake, and immediately said to his housekeeper Ziya, "Ziya, I am going to enter the zone level area." "Wow, the master is about to enter the zone level area, Ziya will pack up now." Ziya looked very excited. Yi Tian doesn't have anything in the cultivation tower, it's basically just some daily necessities and some planted plants, which are of little value. He didn't care, but Ziya, the housekeeper, cared very much, and put them all away and carried them with him. The promotion of the Huang level area to the Zon level area needs to be assessed. Even if Yi Tian's strength is recognized by the Supremes, it still needs to be assessed. This is the rule. Entrance gate. This is a huge ancient stone gate from the yellow level area to the Zon level area, also known as the Xuanmen. According to Yi Tian's understanding, if a god-level person wants to break through the mysterious gate, he must possess the combat power of an ordinary level second-level child of the universe. But in fact, after many ordinary rank highnesses are promoted to god rank, their combat power will drop by many grades, and it will take a long time to recultivate to ordinary rank highness. After all, it is impossible for an ordinary rank His Highness who is in the second rank to be the second-rank child of the universe at the ordinary rank after being promoted to the god rank. Therefore, for many ordinary highnesses, it is not bad to be able to maintain the level of their highness at the emperor level after practicing for a long time at the god level, and many will even drop one level. Under normal circumstances, many highnesses in the yellow level area would choose to practice in the yellow level area for a long time after they became gods before going to the profound gate. And Yi Tian doesn't need it, his strength has reached a point that many people can't look up to. Wow, Yi Tian stepped into the Xuanmen step by step, and soon came to a void. Here, Yi Tian encountered a clone of His Highness, who had roughly the second-grade combat power of the ordinary child of the universe. Yi Tian easily killed the opponent with one knife and broke through the mysterious gate. Profound level area. Yi Tian stepped on the ground in this area, and the moment Ziya passed through the Xuanmen gate, her authority was also upgraded, and she immediately shuttled over and entered the Zon level area. There is no essential difference between the Zon level area and the yellow level area, and this is just a cultivation area. Ziya, let's go and find a training tower. Yi Tian said. Yes, down, Ziya said quickly. As for the darkness ruling them, Yi Tian did not inform them, but they must have known it long ago. After finding a new place to live, they let them know and that's it. Anyway, Yi Tian usually can't see the darkness to dominate them, after all, the gap between the two sides is too much. Zon level area, Xuanwang Mountain. This is the area with the strongest vitality in the Zon level area. There are 13 training towers in total, and 8 of them already have owners. Ask for flowers. Soon, Yi Tian came to Xuanwang Mountain. Master, the training tower on the top of Xuanwang Mountain has not been occupied yet. Master, go and occupy that training tower. Ziya said. It is good, Yi Tian said. Swish, Yi Tian flew to the top of Xuanwang Mountain, and this scene was known by the guards of each of His Royal Highnesses. For the first time, several His Royal Highnesses from Xuanwang Mountain knew and came out one by one. In the beginning, these His Highnesses thought that Yi Tian was just some reckless newcomer, trying to meddle with the cultivation tower on the top of Xuanwang Mountain, wanting to give this newcomer some color and teach him a lesson. But when they also came to the top of Xuanwang Mountain and saw Yi Tian, one of His Highnesses' expression changed slightly. This Highness is the only remaining Henggu level Highness in the Zon level area, named His Royal Highness Junjian. The other Highnesses did not know Yi Tian and were about to scold Yi Tian, but were stopped by His Royal Highness Junjian. I have seen His Highness Wanfa. Point 0. His Royal Highness Junjian said very politely. You know me. Yi Tian looked at His Highness Junjian and asked. I have heard of His Highness Wanfa's name. It is my honor to meet His Highness Wanfa this time. His Highness Junjian said respectfully. At this time, the other His Royal Highnesses were dumbfounded. His Royal Highness Junjian is now the leader of all His Highnesses in the Zon level area, and he is so polite to a new and unfamiliar Highness. Shanzu, so it is. Yi Tian immediately understood the immortal aura on His Highness Junjian's body. Obviously, His Royal Highness Junjian is also one of the first batch of pilots, so he has some understanding of the immortal race plan. Maybe there is a big man behind His Royal Highness Junjian, plus Yi Tian shines in the ruins world, his reputation resounds through the universe. If you really want to inquire, you will definitely be able to inquire. However, if the Royal Highnesses from the Zon level area came back from the ruins world, if they didn't inquire about the situation carefully, they would have no idea at all that the Emperor level Highnesses were crushing all races in the universe in the ruins world. I'm going to try the assessment of this training tower, I won't tell you. Yi Tian turned around and entered the training tower, and went for the assessment. Seeing that Yi Tian was no longer here, one of the highnesses couldn't help but ask, His Royal Highness Junjian, why are you so respectful to this new highness? Could it be that he is the descendant of a high-level human race? His Royal Highness Junjian smiled and said, You know too little about the news. Our human race Zon level area, Earth level area and Heaven level area have lost a lot in the ruins world, and the gain is not much, but the Emperor level area has a lot of great gains. And His Royal Highness Wanfa in the Emperor level area has the strength of the invincible level Hengu level His Royal Highness. He killed a large number of Hengu level His Royal Highnesses in the ruins world, and even crushed the 2 invincible level Hengu level His Royal Highnesses of the gods and demons. And he has passed through the 10 tribulation area, breaking the record of the human race, and is called the first Emperor level Highness of the universe. No one can compete with him. How powerful is his strength? No one knows, regardless of how high His Highness is new His Royal Highness of the Jin Zon level area, but still far surpasses my strength. 1. What? The other highnesses were completely stunned. Yi Tian's record is too fierce, too exaggerated, the invincible level Hengu level highness who crushed the gods and demons, this is simply a myth. At this moment, they were full of awe for Yi Tian. Righteousness. Chapter 545 The third set of actions. Open black lens bracket full order close black lens bracket. Soon, Yi Tian walked out of the cultivation tower on the top of Xuanwang Mountain. Obviously, Yi Tian passed the assessment and became the master of this cultivation tower. Ziya, come in. Yi Tian said to Ziya. Yes, master. Ziya happily entered the training tower. The other His Royal Highnesses soon left one by one, while Yi Tian officially settled in this cultivation tower on the top of Xuanwang Mountain. It didn't take long for the news that Yi Tian entered the Zon level area to spread, and then the news about Yi Tian's record came out, which shocked many His Royal Highnesses. In the next month, Yi Tian first got acquainted with the Zon level area, learned about the situation in the Zon level area, and then began to practice his own cultivation in the Zon level area. The first thing he did was to test his combat power. When he was at the Emperor level, he became the Supreme level, but now he has become the 9th level Highness of the God level. As for the level of combat power, it is not easy to say. But it is not difficult for Yi Tian to recover to the Supreme level. The 950 Yellow level area has a corresponding battle tower, and the Zon level area also has a corresponding battle tower. The battle tower standards in the Zon level area are the same as those in the Yellow level area. The 1st to 3rd floors represent the ordinary level His Royal Highness, the 4th to 6th floors represent the peak level His Royal Highness, and the 7th to 9th floors represent the Hengu level His Royal Highness. The only difference is that the battle tower in the Zon level area has the 10th floor. Yi Tian entered the battle tower in the illusory world and challenged from the 1st floor. The 1st layer, challenge to pass in seconds. 2nd floor, pass in seconds. The 3rd floor, 4th floor. Soon, Yi Tian broke through the 7th floor, which means that Yi Tian has the battle strength of His Highness of the God level Eternal Ancient level. Then, Yi Tian crossed the 8th floor of the battle tower again, still not feeling any pressure. On the 9th floor, Yi Tian felt a little pressure and fought with the clone of His Royal Highness on the 9th floor for a long time before finally winning. This means that Yi Tian currently has the strength of the 1st grade Eternal Ancient grade His Royal Highness, which is still far from the Supreme grade. Yi Tian was not surprised by this strength. At present, his cultivation base is much higher than that of the Emperor level, and there is no major improvement in other aspects, so it is normal for His Royal Highness to fall from the Supreme level to the 1st level. After coming out of the illusory world, Yi Tian was ready to formulate a future cultivation plan. The cultivation of the God level is different from the Emperor level. From the 1st level to the 9th level of the God level, it is the increase of quantity. For Yi Tian, it is the total amount of immortal power. It stands to reason that the 9th rank of the God level is already the limit of the God level. But this is for the general God level. In fact, after the 9th level of God level, you can continue to practice, but it is not to increase the total amount, but to compress divine power or immortal power. Of course, this process is also very difficult and lengthy. At the God level, divine power or immortal power can only be compressed to a certain level and it is difficult to compress. However, once it is compressed, the strength will become stronger accordingly, which is also a way to improve the strength. His Royal Highnesses in the Zon level area can buy the magic power compression technique, and Yi Tian can practice the strongest magic power compression technique. Then, Yi Tian purchased a divine power compression secret technique called Ji Yu Sheng compression, which was created by an almighty named Ji Yu Sheng, and ranked in the forefront among many secret techniques. This secret technique is not about rapid compression, but steady compression. It has great potential and is suitable for those who have time. Therefore, for Yi Tian, this secret technique is very suitable. After obtaining the Ji Yu Sheng compression technique, Yi Tian began to concentrate on practicing the Ji Yu Sheng compression technique. With the effect of 300 times the time acceleration, the training speed was very fast. At the same time, Yi Tian still needs to practice two aspects. One is to create a peak level Tao of the blade unique technique, and the other is to create a more powerful divine tome secret technique. Of course, Yi Tian still needs to cultivate many secret techniques such as divine defense secret techniques, and replace the various secret techniques that he had cultivated at the emperor level one by one. Time passed slowly, and 10 years passed in a blink of an eye. Yi Tian used the 10 years in the Zon level area to continuously improve himself in all aspects. The immortal power was compressed by 5 times, and some secret techniques were all replaced with God level secret techniques. The only pity is that he has not yet created the peak level swordsmanship, but the divine tome secret technique has created another, and it is an attack type of divine tome secret technique. Chaos Palm. Chaos Palm draws on Shu Mi Palm and many palm techniques, and uses palm techniques to release the power of Chaos Body Refinement Art, the Supreme Divine Tome, to form a unique attack. In fact, the tome secret technique is the use of one's own way. The fundamental way of Yi Tian is the Chaos Tao, and the Tao of the blade is only the auxiliary Tao, so in a certain sense, the divine tome secret technique is the most important, even more important than the ultimate knowledge of Tao of the blade. The power of Chaos Palm is very terrifying, but the consumption is also very serious. It is Yi Tian's trump card. With the power of Chaos Palm and 5 times the immortal power, Yi Tian's strength once again jumped to the level of His Royal Highness Invincible Grade Eternal Ancient Grade, but it is still far from the Supreme Grade. According to Yi Tian's estimation, he will increase the immortal power to 10 times the limit, then create the peak level swordsmanship, and then cultivate the 5 elements great supernatural power and the 5 elements divine wheel to the realm of minor achievement. The power of the 5 elements divine wheel great divine ability is very powerful. It was only at the entry level before, so it is difficult to become Yi Tian's top attack method, but as long as it is promoted to the small achievement realm, its power is very terrifying. Although there are many things that need to be cultivated, Yi Tian can at least achieve it, as long as he is given time. But other His Royal Highnesses have never hoped to become Supreme Level Highnesses in their entire lives. Even His Royal Highness Tianxuan of the Protoss and Bloodwind of the Demon race were Invincible level Henggu level His Royal Highnesses when they were at the Emperor level. But if you want to become the Supreme Level Highness after the God level, you also need to go through untold hardships. And Yi Tian doesn't need it. When he was at the Emperor level, he attacked His Highness at the Supreme level. Now it is much less difficult to recover to His Highness at the Supreme level. Moreover, Yi Tian's achievements in the future can far exceed that of His Highness at the Supreme level, and his future is boundless. This day, Yi Tian came to the Six Paths Reincarnation Pagoda under the leadership of the Dark Lord. Today, the Six Paths of Reincarnation Pagoda has been placed in a space in the Hall of Human Race by the Supremes of the human race, and no one in a boat can enter here. But the Six Paths Reincarnation Pagoda was contributed by Yi Tian, and Yi Tian could naturally enter here casually. When Yi Tian came to the Six Paths Reincarnation Tower, I saw that the breath of the Six Paths Samsara Tower was much stronger than before. It can be seen that with the efforts of the human race, the source of the Six Paths Samsara Tower is slowly recovering, and it may not be too long. You can reproduce the power of the Xeon Supreme Treasure, and the human race will have one more Xeon Supreme Treasure. The Dark Lord was waiting outside. Yi Tian entered the Six Paths Reincarnation Tower, and immediately came to the inheritance space. This time, he will inherit the third set of movements of the 18 Golden Body Judgment. If he obtains the third set of movements, Yi Tian can continue to improve his physical strength. This is a sky-defying secret technique that breaks the limitations of this universe. Unfortunately, only he can practice it. Others may be able to practice the first and second sets of movements under the limitations of the universe, but after becoming God level, the physical body cannot be improved, unable to practice the third set of movements. But Yi Tian is a heaven-defying person and has already broken the shackles. Now he can naturally continue to break the shackles at 5.7 and improve his physical strength. Heritage Space. Yi Tian put on the third set of moves, trying again and again, persisting for longer and longer. It didn't take long for Yi Tian to get the approval of the third statue and the method of training the third set of movements of the 18 golden body art. Afterwards, Yi Tian left the Six Paths Reincarnation Tower. After returning, Yi Tian made the third set of movements of the 18 golden body judgments of diligent cultivation. After insisting again and again, the physical strength became stronger and stronger, and the strength naturally became stronger and stronger. At this rate of improvement, Yi Tian's day to become the supreme rank His Highness is not far away. After experiencing the prosperous world of the ruins of the world, the supreme hall of the human race has lost too many highnesses, so it has recruited 9-star peerless talents for training. Collect Tianjiao from the major star fields, screen them again and again, select the most outstanding ones, cultivate them into the children of the universe, and send them into the highest hall of the human race. And one of them is Zhou Tian. Chapter 546 Yi Tian and #039, S disciple. Open black lens bracket full order close black lens bracket. Zhou Tian is now a 9-star peerless genius, and his cultivation has also broken the limit of his body for the 19th time. It can be said that he is only one step away from becoming the sun of the universe. Today, the Supreme Hall of the human race wants to recruit a large number of 9-star peerless talents, so he was naturally selected. This day, more than 10,000 9-star peerless geniuses came from various star regions to the Supreme Hall of human race in the outer hall area. Here, they will be rigorously trained and taught. As for how many of these people can become the children of the universe, it depends on their level of effort and potential. Zhou Tian came to the outer hall of the Supreme Hall of the human race, and saw so many 9-star peerless geniuses. He learned that there are His Royal Highnesses at the level of the children of the universe above the 9-star peerless genius, and there are specific divisions between them. This is the place where all the geniuses of the human race come together. I didn't feel the pressure, only the endless fighting spirit. In the star field where he is located, although his strength is not invincible to the emperor level, he definitely belongs to the top few. If he hadn't known that there is a sun of the universe above the peerless genius of the 9 stars, he would have already hit the god level. Will Master be also in the Supreme Hall of the human race? Zhou Tian suddenly guessed. This guess is not unreasonable, because his master Yi Tian is very powerful, and the master once said that when he dazzled the human race, they might meet. What does this mean? The dazzling human race should refer to shining brightly in the Supreme Hall of the human race, so that the master will know. Zhou Tian thought to himself. Thinking of this, Zhou Tian's interest in cultivation is heavier, and his desire for the sun of the universe is also deeper. Of course, he also wanted to inquire about Master's situation. Only 29, but he knew too little about the Master. At present, he only knew that the Master was called Yi Tian, and he didn't know anything about the others. And just a real name, naturally there is no way to inquire about Yi Tian's situation. If you know Yi Tian's title, you may be able to find out. In a flash, 10 years have passed. In the 10 years when the human race was supreme, Zhou Tian's progress was enormous, and his combat power completely overwhelmed the other 9-star peerless geniuses, almost reaching the limit of 9-star peerless geniuses. And Zhou Tian's reputation has completely resounded in the outer hall of the highest hall of the human race, and even attracted the attention of some outer hall gods of the universe. In the Supreme Hall of the human race, the universe god or the master is not allowed to accept any of his highnesses as disciples. This is a fair competition for the highnesses. In case the high-level human race continues to accept His Highness as a disciple, they will secretly cultivate it, which will disrupt the competition method of His Highnesses and will be detrimental to the supreme human race. But before becoming His Royal Highnesses, if Tianjiao was accepted as his apprentice, it would not be regarded as breaking the rules. Today, Zhou Tian's reputation is resounding in the outer hall of the highest hall of the human race, and he is almost recognized as the son of the universe who must succeed. Naturally, there are many people who want to accept Zhou Tian as an apprentice. Of course, most of the cosmic gods are more reserved and embarrassed to do so, but it does not mean that all the cosmic gods can't let themselves down. This day, a universe god in the outer hall of the highest hall of the human race summoned Zhou Tian. In front of a splendid temple. Zhou Tian came here under the leadership of a guard, and he was a little nervous at this time. He knew that the one who summoned him this time was one of the rulers of the outer hall of the Supreme Hall of the human race, a great god of the universe. What a powerful existence the universe god is, with an almost infinite lifespan, and in a domain, it is at the level of overlord. He didn't expect that such existence would summon him. Soon, Zhou Tian met the god of the universe, the god Lord Yunwang. I have seen God Lord Yunwang. Zhou Tian said nervously. The god Lord Yunwang looked like a middle-aged man, wearing a purple gold crown and a golden shirt, sitting on a high seat overlooking Zhou Tian. Zhou Tian, your performance in the outer hall of the highest hall of the human race is very good, especially your Tao of the blade has gone out of your own way. Even many of the royal highnesses in the inner hall are far inferior to you. You will definitely be able to become a leader in the future. The sun of the universe, there is even hope to shine in the inner hall. However, if you practice alone, you may take many detours. I am willing to accept you as a disciple and guide you in your practice, so that you can become the sun of the universe faster. Enter the inner hall of the highest hall of the human race. What do you think? God Lord Yunwang asked. Accept an apprentice. Zhou Tian was startled. He already had this guess, but he didn't expect the guess to come true. Others would definitely be very excited. After all, to be accepted by a cosmic god, what a glory this is, and the future is boundless. But Zhou Tian declined. God Lord Yunwang, I already have a master. Oh, could it be that you worshipped another universe god as your teacher? God Lord Yunwang frowned. But according to what he knew, the other universe gods in the supreme hall of the human race did not accept Zhou Tian as a disciple, otherwise he could not have known. Zhou Tian shook his head and said, I don't know what my master is, he has only taught me for a while, but without his permission, I will not worship anyone else as a teacher, and I hope God Lord Yunwang will forgive me. Who is your master? God Lord Yunwang asked. He guessed that Zhou Tian's master should not be a strong person, maybe a small person in a certain star field. As long as he has got Zhou Tian's master, then he can accept Zhou Tian as his apprentice. My master's name is Yi Tian, as for other information, I don't know. Zhou Tian said. Yi Tian, why is this name so familiar? Divine Master Yunwang pondered for a while, and suddenly thought of a person. Impossible, it shouldn't be that one. That one has just become a god, and he has been in seclusion and practice, how could he have time to accept apprentices? Moreover, Zhou Tian and that person are not from the same star field, the possibility of knowing each other. Almost none of them, let alone the two of them, are masters and apprentices. Yun Huang thought to himself. However, although he didn't believe it, he still asked casually, Zhou Tian, do you still remember what your master looked like? Remember. Zhou Tian nodded. 10 days. When the god Lord Yunwang saw Yi Tian's appearance, his pupils shrank and he was shocked. Your Highness. How is this possible? When Zhou Tian saw the look of the Lord Yunwang, he immediately knew that the Lord Yunwang knew his master. Your Highness Wanfa, could this be the name of my master? Zhou Tian was surprised, and immediately asked, God Lord Yunwang, do you know my master? God Lord Yunwang took a deep breath and said, I know your master, but we don't know each other. He is a highness in the inner hall of the highest human race, and he was just promoted to the Zon level area not long ago. Unexpectedly, it's his apprentice, so lucky. 1. He did not think that Zhou Tian was lying. As a god of the universe, he could easily judge whether an emperor level lied or not. God Lord Yunwang, do you know my master? Zhou Tian asked. Understood. The Lord Yunwang said, your master, he is far beyond your imagination. Although you are very good in the outer hall of the supreme hall of the human race, you are far worse than your master. He can be said to be the most talented His Royal Highness in the history of our human race, and even in a prosperous world not long ago, he crushed countless His Royal Highnesses from all races in the universe. No one can match him. And he has made great contributions to the human race. Even my status in the human race is not as good as your master. The supreme of our human race said not long ago that if His Highness Wanfa does not die, he will become a supreme. Maybe you don't understand the concept of supreme. A supreme, one look can kill me countless times. Quote. Zhou Tian was stunned. He just knew that his master was a highness, but he thought it was just an ordinary god-level highness. I didn't expect master to be so arrogant. His Royal Highness, who overwhelmed all races in the universe, was called the first highness in the history of the human race. He originally thought that he would be able to surpass his master one day, but now that he thinks about it, he probably has no hope of surpassing his master. 950 inches. Even if you can't surpass the master, you must try to get close to the master's achievement. Zhou Tian felt stressed, but more motivated. Since you are a disciple of His Highness Wanfa, I am qualified to accept you as a disciple, but if you have doubts about your practice in the future, you can come to me at any time. God Lord Yunwang said with a smile. He has no chance to curry favor with His Highness Wanfa now, but he can make friends with His Highness's disciple Zhou Tian, which will only benefit him in the future, not harm. Thank you, Lord Yunwang. Zhou Tian is grateful. After Zhou Tian left, God Lord Yunwang spread the news of Zhou Tian's arrival at the highest hall of the human race to the emissary of the inner hall, and then the emissary of the inner hall to Yi Tian's guards. Profound level area. Yi Tian is practicing, and a cosmic god guard asks to see him. What's up? Yi Tian asked. The guard quickly said, His Royal Highness, there is news from the outer hall that your disciple Zhou Tian has come to the supreme hall of the human race. 1. Zhou Tian, that kid has come to the supreme hall of the human race. Yi Tian was a little surprised, but not too surprised. With Zhou Tian's aptitude in the Tao of the blade, it is not difficult to grow up, and he has improved Zhou Tian's cultivation talent. As long as Zhou Tian works hard, he will naturally rise up quickly. Yi Tian didn't go to see Zhou Tian, at least now is not the time. In addition, Yi Tian dispatched an escort, blocked the news, and did not allow Zhou Tian to be his disciple, so as not to affect Zhou Tian's cultivation. When Zhou Tian really becomes the son of the universe, I'll go see him again. Yi Tian thought. So, he continued to practice. Now, his third set of movements is close to the perfect state, and the peak-level swordsmanship has also taken shape, and it is not far from the real creation of the peak-level swordsmanship. Coupled with progress in other aspects, Yi Tian's current strength is infinitely close to that of His Royal Highness. Chapter 547 The Promised Sword Sect. Open black lens bracket full order close black lens bracket. This day, Yi Tian was in the process of cultivating, and suddenly a large number of chi luck threads appeared on his body. These air transport threads are gathered together, and an ancient well is intertwined above Yi Tian's head. Soon, Yi Tian noticed it and opened his eyes. Air well. Yi Tian was quite surprised. Logically speaking, his identity as the son of the universe was fluctuated by the origin of the universe, and his chi luck plummeted, and he couldn't form a chi transportation well at all. Moreover, only during the Tianzhao battle can the Tianzhao snatch other people's luck, and gather a large amount of chi in a short period of time, so that the chi transportation well can be formed when the Tianzhao war is over. And the gas transport well was condensed for a short time, and it will eventually break apart. If it is normal, it is indeed possible to condense out the gas transport well, but the amount of gas transport required is huge, and it is impossible for ordinary people to condense. The people who can really condense the gas transport wells are all high-level figures of the family. They have accumulated a lot of gas transport in the long years, and together with the gas transport of the human race, they can condense the gas transport wells in one fell swoop. By the way, it's the luck of the immortals. Yi Tian suddenly remembered. He is the first immortal clan and one of the initiators of the immortal clan plan, so he naturally enjoys the luck of the immortal clan. At the beginning, the number of immortals was scarce, and he did not enjoy much luck. Nowadays, more and more people from the human race have transformed into immortal races. Even if each immortal race provides him with only a little bit of luck, the aura gathered by a large number of immortal races is a huge amount of luck. Now, these gas transports have accumulated to form qualitative changes, which have begun to evolve into gas transport wells. There are many benefits of gas transport wells. In addition to improving the training speed and assisting in breaking bottlenecks, it also helps to obtain opportunities. The more luck you have, the more likely you are to encounter opportunities. Therefore, Yi Tian was still very excited when he saw that he was evolving the chi transport well. Soon, the gas transport well has evolved. 8-foot gas transport well. This level of chi transport well means that Yi Tian can increase his cultivation speed by 8 times, which is quite good. Moreover, this gas transport well is still growing slowly. Once the number of immortal clan increases, Yi Tian's chi transport well will become larger and larger, and the effect will become more and more terrifying. Dark Lord, Yi Tian called out. Swish, the void is rippling, and the Lord of Darkness appears. Your Highness, what's the matter? The Dark Lord asked. Master of the Darkness, my Tao of the Blade Mastery is about to break through, but it's still a little short. My path is very clear, but the accumulation is a little bit worse. I know how to create a peak-level Tao of the Blade Mastery, but I feel that I still need it. Some time. Do you know of any place that can help me create a peak-level Tao of the Sword as soon as possible? Yi Tian asked. The Master of Darkness pondered for a while, and then said, Your Highness, perhaps the swordsman of the Promised Sword Sect can help His Highness successfully create a peak-level swordsmanship. The Promised Sword Sect, you mean the Promised Sword Sect, one of the 9 supreme forces of the human race? Yi Tian asked. Yes. The Dark Lord nodded. Yi Tian was silent. The Promised Sword Sect was not an ordinary force, but a supreme-level force, a force that possessed the supreme Among the many forces of the human race, the 9 supreme level forces are undoubtedly the strongest, and under the supreme level forces are the dominant level forces, under the dominant level forces are the overlord level forces, and under the overlord level forces are the 9 stars power. The human race Supreme Hall can be called a supreme level force, but it is actually an organization that the 9 supreme level forces have jointly withdrawn from. It can even be said that the 9 supreme level forces have a great say in the Supreme Hall of the human race. The 9 supreme powers can manage the Supreme Hall of the human race, but the Supreme Hall of the human race cannot manage the 9 supreme powers. The real powerhouses of the human race are all among the 9 supreme powers, and there are not many powerhouses in the Supreme Hall of the human race. For example, although Kunwu Supreme and Juju Supreme are in the highest halls of the human race, they are actually the supremes of the 9 supreme level forces. Yi Tian's current status and contribution to the human race may be able to obtain some favorable treatment in the human race Supreme Hall, but in fact there is no status among the 9 supreme powers. Therefore, if he wants to enter the sword mound of the Promised Sword sect, it is not an easy matter. Of course, he can go to ask Kunwu Supreme. With Kunwu Supreme's face, it is definitely enough to let him enter the knife mound of Wuji Sword sect. However, Yi Tian was embarrassed to ask Kunwu Supreme. Master of the Darkness, how do you think I can enter the sword mound of the Promised Sword sect? Yi Tian asked. His Royal Highness, there are 2 supremes in the Wuji Sword sect. One of them is the Sword Master, one of the 12 supremes, whose strength is second only to Kunwu Supreme, and the other is an ordinary supreme called Xingyuan Supreme. The 2 supremes will not care about the highnesses of the Supreme Hall of the human race, and even the Lord of the Supreme Hall of the human race will not give face, unless the 3 supremes such as Kunwu Supreme come forward. If the 3 supremes do not appear, there is only one way, only then can you enter the sword mound of the Promised Sword sect. The Dark Lord said. Any solution? Yi Tian asked quickly. Challenge the Promised Sword Tower of the Promised Sword sect. The Dark Master said. The Promised Sword Tower is an extremely important place in the Promised Sword sect. Any disciple or even outsiders can enter the Promised Sword Tower, and outsiders only need to pass through the Promised Sword Tower. On the 3rd floor, if you are innocent, you can join the Promised Sword sect. If you can pass the 6th floor, you can become the inheritor of the Promised Sword sect. If you can pass the 9th floor, which is the highest floor, then a request can be made. As long as this request does not exceed the bottom line of the Promised Sword sect, the Promised Sword sect will basically agree. The Sword Mound is an extremely important place for the Promised Sword sect. Except for the inheritance of Daozi and the high-level officials of the Promised Sword sect, others it is impossible to enter. But if His Highness breaks through the 9th floor of the Wuji Sword Tower, he can propose to enter the Sword Mound. Yi Tian thought for a while, then said, Master of the Darkness, how about you leave the human race Supreme Hall with me and go to the Promised Sword sect? Yes, Your Highness. The Dark Lord nodded. Immediately, Yi Tian and the Dark Lord left. This time, Yi Tian only brought the Dark Lord, and the other 10 Cosmos God Guards did not. The 9 supreme level forces are all in the human race sanctuary, while the Wuji Sword sect is on the Wuji River system Wuji continent in the human race sanctuary. The entire continent is the territory of the Promised Sword sect, and even the entire Promise River system is the sect of the Promised Sword sect. Under normal circumstances, ordinary people are not allowed to enter the Wuji River system, and only some caravans or strong people are qualified to enter the Wuji River system. This day, Yi Tian and the Dark Lord came to the Wuji River system. When a master arrives, naturally no one dares to stop him. Soon, the Master of Darkness brought Yi Tian to the Promised Continent. Here, the Dark Lord was stopped. Boom! A powerful ruler appeared in front of Yi Tian and the gloomy ruler. Dark Lord, rare guest, you actually came to our Promised Sword sect. The master was quite surprised. It turns out that the Blood Jade Master of the Promised Sword sect has not seen it for a long time. I came here with His Highness Wanfa this time, and I have something to do with the Promised Sword sect. The Dark Master said. At this time, the Master of Blood Jade looked at Yi Tian. So you are His Highness Wanfa. I don't know what happened to our Wuji Sword sect. The Blood Jade Master knew Yi Tian's existence, and naturally he knew Yi Tian's enchanting level, and also knew what role Yi Tian played in the immortal race plan. At present, the entire sect of the Promised Sword sect has been transformed into an immortal clan, although he does not dare to be disrespectful to Yi Tian, otherwise it will easily bring a bad impression to the Promised Sword sect. After all, if there is no Yi Tian, the strength of the Promised Sword sect and human will not be improved so much, so he will not speak to Yi Tian in the tone of a strong man. Master of Blood Jade, I want to enter the knife mound of the Promised Sword sect. Yi Tian said truthfully. The Blood Jade Lord frowned immediately and said, Your Highness Wanfa, you have made a great contribution to the human race, and even our Wuji Sword Sect has accepted your favor, but one thing is one thing. Wuji Sword Sect also has the rules of Wuji Sword Sect. It is impossible for the knife family to be open to outsiders. Otherwise, it will be open to you today, and tomorrow there will be other descendants of the supreme descendants who will enter the knife mound of our Wuji knife sect. Isn't the knife mound a back garden for others? There is no way to set this precedent. Please forgive me, Your Highness Wanfa. Yi Tian said with a smile. I know the rules of the Promised Sword Sect, but I also know very well that the Promised Sword Sect also has a rule. If anyone crosses the 9th floor of the Promised Sword Sect's Promised Sword Pagoda, they can make a request. I wonder if entering the sword mound can be regarded as a request. The Blood Jade Lord was silent for a while, and then nodded. Naturally it is a request. If His Highness Wanfa really crosses the 9th floor of the Wuji Dao Nuo Li's tower, let alone enter the knife mound, even if you want to become our Wuji the Elder of the Sword Sect, that is also possible. Forget about the position of the Elder, I just want to enter the knife family. Yi Tian said quickly, since that's the case, then I'll take the Highness of Wanfa down to the Wuji Dao Tower. The Lord of Blood Jade led the way, Yi Tian and the Lord of Darkness followed. It didn't take long. Yi Tian came to the Promised Blade Tower. The Wuji Dao Pagoda has a total of 9 floors and is 10,000 feet high. It stands on a huge square. The tower is golden and full of the law of the blade. There are also small towers around the Promised Blade Tower, and each small tower has the breadth of a strong man. These powerhouses are the tower guards who guard the Promised Blade Tower. When Yi Tian came to Wuji Blade Tower was still closed. His Royal Highness, the Promised Sword Tower will be opened in 10 days, and there are still 3 days until the opening day. How about we wait here for 3 days? If His Highness Wanfa really can't wait, I can also break the rules and move ahead. Open the Promised Sword Tower and let His Royal Highness enter the Promised Sword Tower. Blood Jade dominates the Dao. You don't need to open it in advance, just wait 3 days. Yi Tian said quickly. He also did not want to break the rules of the Promised Sword Sect, so as not to cause the hostility of the Promised Sword Sect. After all, he is now begging the Wuji Sword Sect, not the Wuji Sword Sect asking him. Chapter 548 Inheriting Dowsy Like Ants. Open black lens bracket monthly pass close black lens bracket. Yi Tian was waiting outside the Promised Blade Tower, and this matter quickly spread. Suddenly, a disciple of the Promised Sword Sect came here. For Yi Tian, they don't know much. After all, Yi Tian's reputation is very loud, but only the high-level human race and some powerhouses and His Royal Highnesses in the Human Race Supreme Hall know about it. As for the warriors of other human race forces, Yi Tian's existence is not known. If there is only the name of His Royal Highness in the Zon level region, it can't hold the disciples of the Wuji Sword Sect. In terms of overall strength, the Human Race Supreme Palace is not as good as the Wuji Sword Sect. After all, the Wuji Sword Sect is much stronger than the Human Race Supreme Palace in other aspects except for the number of supreme beings. For example, there are too many warriors at the God level, True God level, Great God level, Galaxy level, and Galaxy level. It can even be said that apart from the suzerain of the Promised Sword Sect and a few elders, no one else is aware of the true heritage and strength of the Promised Sword Sect. Yi Tian paid no attention to the arrival of the Wuji Sword Sect disciples, sitting cross-legged in an open space and waiting silently. Suddenly, there was a commotion. 3 God-level Taoists are here. Whoa. The 3 disciples of the Promised Sword Sect with 9th rank cultivation at the God level, wearing Taoist robes, came from the void. As soon as the 3 of them arrived, the other disciples were extremely respectful. The Inheritance Dowsy is an extremely noble disciple of the Promised Sword Sect. As long as you pass the 6th floor of the Promised Sword Tower, you can become the Inheritance Dowsy of the Promised Sword Sect. Each Inheritance Dowsy is very powerful and potential. His Royal Highness, the inheritor of the Promised Sword Sect may be provocative, please be merciful to your Highness, otherwise it is easy to offend the Promised Sword Sect, and it is not easy to enter the Sword Mound. The voice of the Dark Master came. 950. The Lord of Darkness is hidden in the dark, and these disciples of the Promised Sword Sect cannot see the Lord of Darkness, nor are they qualified to see the Lord of Darkness. What a powerful existence the Lord is, even in the Promised Sword Sect, it is at the level of an inner sect Supreme Elder, high above, and ordinary Inheritance Taoists are not qualified to see the Lord. Master of the Darkness, the inheritor of the Promised Sword Sect, why do I feel that their breath has the aura of the Son of the Universe? Didn't the Son of the Universe enter the Supreme Hall of the human race? Yi Tian asked through voice transmission. The Lord of Darkness explained. His Royal Highness, only half of the children of the universe of the human race are actually concentrated in the Supreme Hall of the human race, and the other half are basically located in the 9 Supreme Level Forces. For example, the Supreme Level Forces such as the Promised Sword Sect, their inheritance is the universe. Son of Taoist, in the Promised Sword Sect is an inheritance Taoist, his treatment is no worse than the treatment in the Supreme Hall of human race. Therefore, the 9 supreme powers will only send some weaker inheritance Daozi to the Supreme Hall of human race, and the truly excellent inheritance Daozi they will all stay in the headquarters. His Highness should have basically discovered that many of the Highnesses of the supreme human race are from other star regions outside the sanctuary, and not many really belong to the sanctuary. The overall strength of the sanctuary even surpasses other star regions. The reason why there are only so many His Royal Highnesses entering the Supreme Hall of human race is because of the 9 supreme level forces. Gloomy Lord, if that's the case, wouldn't it be good for other Cosmos sons to join the 9 supreme powers? Why do they all join the Supreme Hall of the human race? Yi Tian asked in confusion. Because of the rules, the Dark Lord said. The human race Supreme Palace was originally established by the Supremes of the 9 supreme powers, so it cannot compete with the human race Supreme Palace to snatch other children of the universe. In addition, some opportunities and treatments are only available to the human race Supreme Palace. His Royal Highnesses are only qualified to enjoy it, and the inheritance Taoists of the 9 supreme level forces cannot enjoy it. For example, the title of Your Highness can only be used by His Royal Highnesses in the Supreme Hall of the human race, and these inheritance Taoists cannot be used. Inheritance Taoists of the 9 supreme level forces are not qualified to go there. For example, in the last relic world, the inheritance Taoists of the 9 supreme level forces are not eligible to go. Of course, the Taoists of the 9 supreme level forces do not go to the ruins world and other places of opportunity, and there is less danger. Therefore, the Taoists of the 9 supreme level forces have almost no danger, while the Highnesses of the human race's Supreme Hall are in danger because of it is often necessary to fight for the glory of the human race, and many have fallen. Relatively, those who inherit the Tao are safer. But the temperament is basically not as good as the Highnesses of the Supreme Hall of the human race, so the powerhouses born from the inheritance of Daozi are far inferior to the Highnesses who were cultivated by the Supreme Hall of the human race. After the Dark Lord said this, Yi Tian almost understood. To put it simply, these inheritance Daozi are nothing more than a group of flowers hiding in a greenhouse. There is no shortage of natural resources, but what is lacking is the willpower and the ability to face life and death. Of course, this does not mean that the true powerhouses and evildoers cannot be born among the descendants of Taoism, but they are very rare and the probability is too low. You are Your Highness from the Supreme Palace of the human race. Lei Daozi, one of the 3 God-level inheritance Daozi, walked towards Yi Tian and asked. Do not bother me, Yi Tian replied lightly, and immediately closed his eyes to rest. Daozi Lei Dao was angry and felt ignoring. In the Promised Sword Sect, he is a high-ranking Taoist, with infinite potential in the future, so he was ignored by others. Although Yi Tian came from the highest hall of the human race, he did not think that he was weaker than Yi Tian. From his point of view, the strength of those Highnesses in the Supreme Hall of the human race is just that, and many are not as good as him. There is a message from the top of the Promised Sword Sect that the Highness of the Supreme Palace of the human race is trying to enter the sword mount of our Promised Sword Sect, and he also uttered mad words to challenge the Promised Sword Tower and break through the 9th floor. You can knowing what the 9th floor of the Promised Sword Pagoda represents, a God-level cosmic son who has never crossed the Promised Sword Pagoda would be too ignorant of the Promised Sword Pagoda of our Promised Sword Sect, right? Thunder Daozi said coldly. At this time, the other disciples of the Promised Sword Sect shouted. Thunder Sword Daozi, teach this Highness from the Supreme Hall of the human race, and let him know that our Promised Sword Sect inherits Daozi. CJFH. The inheritance Daozi of our Promised Sword Sect is invincible at the same level and is the most powerful. Thunder Sword Taoist, let's make a move, show off the Promised Sword Sect. Above the sky, in front of the Dark Lord stood the Blood Jade Lord. Master of Blood Jade, your inheritance Daozi of the Wuji Sword Sect is provoking His Highness Wanfa, don't you stop it, otherwise your inheritance Daozi will be in trouble. You should know the strength of His Highness Wanfa, even if it is not long before you become the 9th rank of God, but these Taoists are far from being the opponents of His Highness Wanfa. The Dark Lord said. The Blood Jade Lord smiled slightly and said, why should you stop it? It's better to let these inheritors of Taoism suffer, so as to save them from being arrogant. Seeing the Blood Jade Master doesn't care, and the Dark Master doesn't care either. However, since the Lord of Blood Jade is already present, the lives of these Taoist inheritors are safe, and the Master of Darkness is not afraid that His Highness Wanfa will kill these Taoist inheritors by mistake. Under the instigation of many disciples, Daozi Lei Dao challenged Yi Tian. His Royal Highness from the highest hall of the human race, I want to challenge you, will you fight? Daozi Lei Dao raised his sword, aimed at Yi Tian, and asked. Not interested in. Yi Tian said lightly, you have to know that this is the Promised Sword sect. You can't refuse if you want to. If you don't want to fight, you don't want to wait quietly for these 3 days. Daozi Lei Dao threatened. At this time, Yi Tian stood up and said, let's go together, so that you don't bother me one by one. These remarks were extremely arrogant, and made Daozi Lei Dao, 2 other Dao children who inherited it, and many disciples of the Promised Sword sect annoyed. I alone is enough to defeat you, come to the Duwutai of our Wuji Sword sect. Thunder Sword Daozi said, let's go, Yi Tian said lightly behind his hands. Swish, Yi Tian and Lei Daozi flew to a fighting platform in the Wuji Sword sect. After all, they are all god-level powerhouses, and they are not ordinary gods. The destructive power is too strong, and the fighting platform is enough to withstand their attacks. It's a good place to fight. The other disciples of the Promised Sword sect, keep up, and even some galaxy-level and galaxy-level powerhouses of the Promised Sword sect came over to watch the fun. Duwutai, Yi Tian and Lei Daozi stood on the stage. You shoot first, otherwise, you won't have a chance to shoot. Yi Tian said, don't underestimate me, Lei Daozi roared, and immediately displayed a sword skill. This is not a unique knowledge of the Tao of the blade, it is just a supreme blade skill, but Daozi Lei Dao is almost on the verge of walking out of his own path in this blade skill, and his power is even 3 points stronger than the ordinary supreme perfect blade skills. This knife is extraordinary, the 3rd grade peak level son of the universe. Yi Tian judged it at a glance. This kind of strength is really good, and it is considered very strong in the Zon level area of the highest human race, but in his eyes it is still too weak. Yi Tian didn't even hide, and didn't launch an attack, but just propped up the defense. Boom! Thunder Dao Daozi almost slashed the man and the knife together, and rushed in front of Yi Tian with incredible momentum. The powerful high-grade divine weapon long knife seemed to come straight into Yi Tian's chest. And right now, a space fluctuation froze this space, and Yi Tian's 2 fingers snapped over. Under the horrified eyes of Daozi Lei Dao, his sword skills were forced, and even the high-grade divine weapon long knife in his hand was clamped by 2 hands, and he was almost unable to move. Open to me, Lei Daozi tried his best to break free and escape from here. But the void froze, the terrifying space pressure acted on him, and he couldn't move at all. You are too weak, Yi Tian stared at Lei Daozi, and said in a tone that looked at ants. Then, Yi Tian placed his palm on Daozi Lei Dao's body lightly, directly shattering the divine weapon armor on his body, and the terrifying shock force also sent it flying back. Boom! Thunder Sword Daozi's body fell on the other end of the Duwu platform, and collided with the ground of the Duwu platform. Then, Lei Daozi vomited blood, his breath was extremely sluggish, and he almost lost his combat effectiveness. Impossible, how can you be so strong? Daozi Lei Dao was horrified, and his eyes were full of disbelief. Chapter 549 Daozuka, enter. Open black lens bracket monthly pass close black lens bracket. At this moment, not only Daozi Lei Dao was dumbfounded, but even the disciples of Wuji Dao's sect who were watching were also extremely shocked. What kind of character Lei Daozi is, he is the pride of their Wuji Dao sect. As one of the 3 god-level inheritance Daozi, Lei Daozi's status is very high, and he is almost invincible at the god-level level. Ordinary top god-level disciples are like ants in the eyes of Lei Daozi, and they are not opponents of Lei Daozi at all. In addition, even the highnesses of the Promised Sword sect in the Supreme Hall of the human race are not opponents of Thunder Sword Daozi. But now, Lei Daozi was easily defeated by Yi Tian, as if an ordinary disciple faced the inheritance Taoist, the gap was too big. Nothing is impossible, you are indeed too weak. Yi Tian said in a very flat tone. Quote. Lei Daozi was very angry, but he couldn't refute it. Yi Tian is indeed too powerful, so powerful that he cannot know what kind of combat power Yi Tian is. But there is no doubt that Yi Tian must be His Royal Highness Eternal Ancient. Who else is going to challenge me? Yi Tian asked. At this time, the other disciples stopped talking, and even the other 2 Taoist inheritance disciples retreated a few steps, not daring to challenge Yi Tian at all. Their strength is similar to that of Thunder Sword Daozi, even Thunder Sword Daozi was instantly defeated, and it is useless for them to go up together. In a blink of an eye, 3 days have come. The promised turret is on. Shish. A disciple of Wuji Dao Zong entered Wuji Dao Tower. Every time the Wuji Blade Tower is opened, many disciples will enter the Wuji Blade Tower. After all, every time they pass through one floor, their status and treatment will be completely different in the future. In addition, many talented disciples who have come from afar have also entered the Wuji Sword Tower. If they can meet certain standards, they can become disciples of Wuji Sword Sect and even inherit Taoism. Yi Tian also entered the Promised Blade Tower at this time. Lei Dao Daozi and the other 2 Daozi did not enter the Wuji Daozi. They are already the Daozi who inherited the Daozi, and they do not need Wuji Dao Tower to prove themselves. Moreover, they also know that they can't get past the higher level now, and entering the Wuji Dao Tower is also the same. Waste time. Thunder Sword Daozi, do you think this person can break through the 9th floor? Qingchen Daozi, one of the 3 god-level Daozi, asked with a smile. How is it possible? The 3 of us have gone through untold hardships to get through the 7th floor, and the 8th and 9th floors are even more perverted. It is said that even the first-class Hengu level His Royal Highness can't get through. After passing the 9th floor, only the legendary invincible level Hengu level His Royal Highness can pass through the 9th floor. Although I don't know the origin of this person, I heard that there was no first-class Hengu level in the era of the Supreme Hall of Human Race. Your Highness, and not long ago, the Supreme Hall of the human race seemed to have participated in a prosperous world, and many His Royal Highnesses of the Hengu level fell. This person should be His Highness of the Hengu level who rose in that prosperous world. I guess it is the second. His Highness of the Hengu level. Even if he is a first-class His Royal Highness, he still can't make it to the 9th floor. Daozi Lei Dao sneered. That's right, the 9th floor of the Promised Sword Tower is too difficult. Our Promised Sword Sect deliberately made it so difficult to prevent others from breaking through the 9th floor. Daozi Qingchen nodded and agreed with Daozi Lei Daozi. Just then, a disciple shouted. Quick, someone has already reached the 4th floor, what a fast speed. I saw that the 4th floor of the Promised Blade Tower was shining brightly, which was a sign that someone had broken into the 4th floor. Soon, the 5th floor of the Wuji Doda also lit up. Soon after, the 6th floor also lit up. It's His Highness from the Supreme Palace of the human race. Thunder Sword Daozi and others murmured. The 7th floor of the Promised Doda. Yi Tian stood in the void of this layer, and a large number of aliens emerged, besieging Yi Tian. These alien races are incomparably real, and they are good at all aspects. If His Royal Highness is not very powerful and has some flaws, he will not be able to pass this level. But for Yi Tian, this level is still very simple. Hunyuan Vine. With a wave of Yi Tian's hand, countless primordial vines swept across the 4 directions, crushing countless alien clones to their death. In a blink of an eye, Yi Tian passed the 7th floor. On the 8th floor, this level is more difficult. Without the strength of His Royal Highness, it is difficult to pass this level. But Yi Tian still easily passed through the 8th floor of the Promised Sword Tower. Finally, Yi Tian came to the 9th floor of the Promised Blade Tower. On this level, Yi Tian only has 10 opponents, but each opponent has the combat power of the first grade Eternal Ancient Grade His Highness, and the difficulty has suddenly increased many times. Yi Tian's current strength is infinitely close to that of His Royal Highness Supreme. Not to mention that these 10 opponents are only the first-class Hengu level battle power. Even if they are 10 general invincible level Hengu level His Royal Highnesses, Yi Tian still won't be afraid at all. There is a certainty of victory. Kill. Yi Tian did not keep his hands at all, showing his terrifying combat power. Boom boom boom. A replica of the first-grade Eternal Highness was smashed by Yi Tian's Tianyu saber, and Yi Tian succeeded in annihilating all 10 opponents in a short while. The 9th floor of the Promised Blade Tower shines brightly. At this moment, the pupils of Lei Daozi and the others shrank suddenly, they couldn't believe it. He broke through the 9th floor of the Promised Sword Tower. Daozi Lei Dao swallowed his throat, full of horror. He finally knew Yi Tian's strength. His Royal Highness of the Invincible level and the Ancient level, I actually provoke such a highness. Daozi Lei Dao touched the sweat on his forehead. This is the legendary highness. In the eyes of such a highness, although he is the son of the peak-level universe, he is similar to the ants. According to the secrets of the Promised Sword Sect, anyone who can become the invincible Eternal Ancient Grade His Highness will definitely be the master in his future achievements. Such a highness, even the master is not willing to offend easily, let alone him. Above the sky, the Lord of Darkness is not surprised that Yi Tian has passed through His Highness the Ancient Grade. As Yi Tian's bodyguard, he has a better understanding of Yi Tian, and truly knows Yi Tian's rapid progress and what is against the sky. Of course, he was warned by the Supremes, and naturally he would not reveal Yi Tian's situation. The Blood Jade Lord was extremely surprised. In his opinion, Yi Tian was the invincible Eternal Highness when he was at the Emperor level, but now he has become a God level, and he has not accumulated enough at the God level. It stands to reason that he has fallen by more than one level now. Even dropped 2 levels, at most the 2nd level Hengu level His Royal Highness. Therefore, he thinks that Yi Tian can pass through the 8th floor at most, and it is impossible to pass through the 9th floor. Master of the Darkness, it's not long before His Highness Wanfa broke through to the God level, why did he return to the level of combat power of His Highness the Invincible Hengu level so quickly? The Blood Jade Lord asked curiously. The Master of Darkness said casually. His Royal Highness Wanfa is progressing very fast. How can you compare the General Hengu level His Royal Highness with His Highness Wanfa? Besides, His Highness Wanfa has a God-level time talent, which can speed up time by hundreds of times and make rapid progress. Some are normal. The Blood Jade Lord didn't know what to say. He doesn't believe the words of the Dark Lord. The time acceleration is indeed incredible, but some aspects can be improved without time acceleration. For flowers, if the strength can be improved by time acceleration, their Promised Sword sect also has a time acceleration training place. Isn't everyone able to become stronger? But seeing the appearance of the Lord of Darkness who didn't want to say anything at all, he knew that he was asking in vain. Wow, Yi Tian walked out of the Wuji Sword Tower and ignored the Wuji Sword sect disciples. Then, the Lord of Darkness took Yi Tian away silently, and followed the Lord of Blood Jade to the knife mound of the Promised Sword sect. According to the regulations, Yi Tian broke through the 9th floor of the Promised Sword sect, and now proposes to enter the Sword Mound. The Promised Sword sect will not be dishonest, otherwise the reputation will be bad. It won't be long before Torizuka arrives. This is the entrance to Torizuka. The Blood Jade Lord pointed to a mountain of knives in front of him and said. Yi Tian looked and saw that there were a large number of swords on the mountain in front of him. These swords were inserted on the ground, and the breath of countless swords permeated the mountain peaks. Moreover, there are many god-level knives on the mountain, and countless knives are gathered together, and the aura of the knives formed is extremely terrifying, enough to kill ordinary gods and warriors. But, this shouldn't be the real Totsuka. Yi Tian guessed. As predicted, the darkness dominates the urging power, separating the entire mountain of knives, forming a crack. In the depths of the crack, Yi Tian saw a stone gate. Go in, remember, don't go deep into the depths of the knife mound, or you will be injured by the knife energy. Don't blame me for not reminding me. The Blood Jade Lord reminded. Thank you for the reminder of the Blood Jade Master. Yi Tian nodded, and immediately stepped into the crack and entered the interior of the stone gate. Passing through the stone gate, heaven and earth are transformed. Above the vast land, Yi Tian stood there alone, and his divine sense glanced around. He only saw countless pieces of knife tools, buried on the ground, and occasionally a trace of knife energy flowed out, proving their existence. It's all ancient knives, full of traces of time, and ancient breath. Yi Tian muttered. The sword family is not a treasure for non-swordsmen, and the vitality here is not strong, but for swordsmen, it is a real treasure, and its value is limitless. The biggest advantage of the knife family is to feel the life of the knife and feel the essence of the real knife. For example, a knife weapon follows its master and fights countless battles. Before it is about to be broken, it is smashed by this knife mound. After a long period of evolution and the special rules of the knife mound, the life of the knife is preserved for a while, so that future generations can feel the power of the knife. Essence, understand the emotions of the knife and so on. Such insights are too precious for swordsmen. And once a knife is realized by the knife guest, it will be dusted again, unless it waits for a long time to evolve before it can show its life again. Therefore, the Promised Sword sect strictly controls the number of places in the sword mound. Even if it is an inheritance of Daozi, there is only one chance to enter the sword mound in a lifetime. If there is no limit on the number of places, the sword mound will be abolished. As for what kind of knife can let the swordsman feel the essence of the knife and the experience of a lifetime, it is also very easy to identify, and it is a knife that presents illusory images and light. Yi Tian flew slowly, looking for the knife among the targets. Soon, a half-knife tool inserted on a stone in the distance exuded a faint light and an illusory image. Found it. Yi Tian teleported over and stood in front of this half-knife tool. Chapter 550 God Level, Supreme Level His Royal Highness. Open black lens bracket full order close black lens bracket. Looking at this half-knife, Yi Tian reached out and touched it. When Yi Tian came into contact with this half-cut knife, countless pictures emerged in Yi Tian's soul, presenting all the past of this knife in Yi Tian's consciousness. Blue and red knife. This is a high-grade artifact, and it is the blade of a great god-level powerhouse. After 50,000 years of conquest, it was finally broken in half. It was collected by the Wuji sword sect and put into the sword mound. Now, Yi Tian felt the essence of the green-red sword, as well as its emotions, will, and even realized the sword skills that had been used on it. Time passed little by little, and 3 hours passed. Yi Tian loosened the half-knife and shook his head. The harvest this time is not big, mainly because the experience of this knife is average, and the level of contact is relatively low, so it is not very useful to him, but it is also slightly helpful. At this time, this half-cut knife has lost its radiance and is useless, and can only wait for the long years to evolve again. Yi Tian left here and continued to look for other knives. There are many knives in the knives, but after all, they have been opened many times, and many knives have become very common and useless. In the blink of an eye, 5 days passed. In these 5 days, Yi Tian encountered a total of 6 useful knives. With the help of these 6 knives, he had a deeper understanding of the nature of knives, but the 950s were far from reaching the level of transformation. I am now on the periphery of the knife mound, which is still far from the core area. The closer the knife mound is to the core area, the better the nature of the knife and the more useful knives. Yi Tian thought to himself. However, it is more dangerous to go deep into the sword mound, because of the sword energy that permeates the air. These knife chi are like oxygen, they continuously penetrate into the human body, but oxygen is not aggressive to the human body, but the knife chi is aggressive. Death. But Yi Tian is very confident in himself. Yi Tian's physical body is far superior to other powerhouses above the god level. Although the immortal power is not as good as some true gods and great gods, his body's endurance exceeds that of many powerhouses above the god level, because he is more likely to withstand the power of the sword knives. Shock. Go ahead. Yi Tian flew towards the depths of the knife mound, ready to enter the inner perimeter of the knife mound, looking for high-quality knives. As soon as he entered the inner perimeter of the knife mound, Yi Tian discovered a black saber of the highest quality artifact. Although this supreme artifact was full of cracks, as if it was about to shatter, it was still well preserved. To be able to produce such a crack in a superb artifact must have experienced a tragic battle. Most of the body of this superb artifact, the black knife, was covered with soil and stuck straight into the ground. Yi Tian stepped forward, grabbed the handle of this superb artifact long knife, and felt the life experience of this long knife and the essence of the knife. Gradually, Yi Tian was immersed in perception. And just like that, the day passed. It turned out to be a galaxy-level powerful saber, fighting for millions of years, and it is still human beings under the oppression of 10,000 races, and has not yet become the era of the great race of the universe, fighting with human races and raising sword skills with endless slaughter. Feel the real sword skills in the fight. Yi Tian took a deep breath and had a deeper understanding of the Tao of the blade. Let go of his hand, Yi Tian continued to look for other knives. As time passed, Yi Tian found more and more knives in the inner circle of the knives, and more comprehension of the nature of knives. This kind of assistance is more direct help than self-cultivation and comprehension of the Tao of the blade, and can make Yi Tian's Tao of the blade background more directly improved. Yi Tian had already figured out how to improve his unique knowledge of the Tao of the blade, but the background was insufficient, which made it difficult for him to upgrade the Tianyu Tao to the peak level unique knowledge of the Tao of the blade. It is like a thing, you clearly know how to do it, but if you have no experience, you will definitely not be proficient in doing it for the first time. This is the gap between experience and background. The time Yi Tian stayed in the knife mound was not infinite, otherwise, if the knife mound was opened next time, how would other people find useful knives? He can only stay in the knife mound for 3 months, and once it exceeds 3 months, he will be rejected by the knife mound. Now, Yi Tian has been in the knife mound for more than a month, and there is not much time left. Must enter the core area. Yi Tian decided. Swish. Yi Tian flew quickly and headed to the core area. As soon as he entered the core area, a terrifying sword aura rushed forward. In an instant, Yi Tian's body was suffering from enormous pain, as if he was going to be slashed by 1,000 knives. The blade aura in the core area is really terrifying. I'm afraid even a god-level powerhouse here cannot rely on divine power to protect his body. Yi Tian guessed. Fortunately, his physical strength is strong enough, and with the immortal power protection, he can barely walk in the core area, but he can't really get close to the core area. But in the core area, Yi Tian didn't dare to fly too fast. Most of the power had to protect himself, otherwise he really couldn't withstand the impact of the sword energy. Time passed day by day, and in a blink of an eye it was 10 days. This day, Yi Tian saw a knife that exuded strong light and illusory influence. No, it should be called the tip of the knife. This blade tip floated in the air, exuding a powerful breath. Original artifact. Yi Tian recognized it. He has a defensive armor at the level of the source artifact, so he has a better understanding of the source artifact. Although this original artifact has only one blade left, its value is still immeasurable. However, the things here cannot be taken away. Yi Tian has no coveted heart for the original artifact, but the life of this original artifact has been of great help to Yi Tian, and it is definitely worth the essence of the knife of dozens of top-quality artifacts. Comprehension. Swish. Yi Tian flew over and touched the blade tip of this original artifact. Boom. Countless pictures emerged, falling into the essence of the sword and the life experience of a weapon. Countless battles, countless fights. The perception of countless blade skills, the essence of countless blade paths. Yi Tian seems to have fallen into an epiphany, and has not woken up from the comprehension of the essence of the knife for a long time. Just like that, day by day passed. In the blink of an eye, half a month passed, and the blade tip of this source artifact completely lost its light, turned into a fragment of an ordinary source artifact, and fell to the ground. And Yi Tian slowly opened his eyes, and in that instant, his eyes seemed to present a world of knives. It turned out to be a cosmic god's knife, but unfortunately that cosmic god was beheaded by the enemy together with this knife, and even the original artifact was smashed. Yi Tian exclaimed, but I have to say that the blade tip of this original artifact has helped him much more than the best artifact, even more than the sum of the previous accumulation. There is still a little time left. I hope to find a second origin artifact level knife. Yi Tian continued to look for it. This time he was lucky, and after just one day, he successfully found the second origin artifact level knife. This knife tool has only one handle left, but it is still a part of the original artifact. With the help of this source artifact, Yi Tian continued to comprehend the essence of the saber and to accumulate information. 3 months, His Highness Wanfa should come out. The Lord of Darkness stood under the mountain of swords at the entrance of the sword mound and muttered. On the side, the Blood Jade Lord is also waiting. After all, this is the place where the sect of the Promised Sword sect is located. He naturally does not worry that the Lord of Darkness is here alone. If the Lord of Darkness does something, he will have a great responsibility. Although this possibility is relatively small, the Blood Jade Lord is not willing to take risks. Boom! The mountain of swords split open, and the entrance of the sword mound opened. A figure was sent out along with the light, and this person was Yi Tian. Your Highness, we should leave. The Dark Lord said. Quote closing curly bracket exclamation mark quote. Yi Tian looked at the Dark Lord and nodded slightly. Then, Yi Tian said goodbye to the Lord of Blood Jade, and followed the Lord of Darkness to leave the Promised Sword sect. It didn't take long for Yi Tian to return to the zone level area of the highest hall of the human race. Not long after returning, Yi Tian entered a complete retreat. He wants to sort out and understand all the gains in the sword mound this time, and then work hard to create a peak-level swordsmanship. 3 years later, on this day, a strong Tao of the Blade Aura suddenly came out of Yi Tian's training room. Although the Dark Lord is not cultivating in Yi Tian's cultivation tower, he has been paying attention to Yi Tian's situation. This breath, the Dark Lord noticed it and was slightly surprised. What a fast speed! His Highness Wanfa's talent is really against the sky, and he has created a peak-level swordsmanship in such a short time. If you look at it this way, His Highness's strength should have entered the supreme level. The Dark Master thought to himself. He did not report this news to the Supremes, not only because it was unnecessary, but more importantly, he was now Yi Tian's bodyguard and did not need to do other things. Practice Tower. Yi Tian had just created the peak-level Tao of the Blade unique skill, and immediately entered the illusory world battle tower. He wanted to test his strength to see if he really reached the combat power of His Royal Highness. Battle Tower, 10th floor. A replica of His Royal Highness appeared. Last time, Yi Tian faced the clone of this highness and was defeated within a few moves. But this time, Yi Tian was not afraid at all. At the beginning, Yi Tian activated all his own defense methods, and also used the supernatural powers of space. 5.7. Then, the time stagnation displayed, affecting the clone of this supreme level highness. At last, Tianyu sword, slash. The peak-level swordsmanship broke out and turned into an astonishing sword light, as if breaking through time and space, slashing towards the replica of this supreme level highness. Boom! The clone of this supreme level highness was knocked into the air by a single blow. Boom! The fierce battle began. Yi Tian kept fighting, although it was difficult to hurt the clone of this supreme level highness, but he could compete head-on. In this fight, an hour passed. Sudden, Yi Tian left the battle tower, which means that he has passed the 10th floor and has the combat power of His Royal Highness. Crossing the 10th floor, although it is relatively reluctant, it is by delaying the time, not defeating the opponent, but it is the weakest God-level Supreme Highness. Yi Tian said with a smile. The combat power returned to the supreme level. Yi Tian was in a good mood, but he wanted to attack the true God level. He can continue to improve at the God level now, and there is no need to rush to hit the true God level. He is now walking on the road against the sky. When the God level hits the true God level, he needs to face 6 thunder tribulations. Each thunder tribulation is extremely terrifying. His own strength is incomparable to a genius. Chapter 551 The Quarrel of the Supremes. In the following days, Yi Tian will focus on the 2 aspects of cultivating the 3rd set of the 18 golden body art and creating the secret technique of Chaos Divine Tome. As for other aspects, he can improve it occasionally. The 3rd set of the 18 golden body art requires a long time to practice and accumulate time, so you can't be impatient. However, now Yi Tian is about to practice the 3rd set of movements to the perfect state, and he can continue to practice the 4th set of movements at the God level. Once the 4th set of movements is completed, Yi Tian's physical strength is beyond his imagination. Time flies, 6 years have passed. This day, Yi Tian successfully completed the 3rd set of movements of the 18 golden body techniques to a perfect state. The physical strength greatly increased, and the strength also increased sharply. And Yi Tian was surprised to find that with the completion of the 3rd set of movements, he also made a lot of progress in the aspect of immortal power, and it was easier for him to compress the immortal power. 8 times the immortal power. Yes, if this goes on, it is not far to compress the immortal power to 10 times. Yi Tian said with satisfaction. This day, a message came. That kid Zhou Tian has become the son of the universe. Yi Tian is not surprised by this at all. With Zhou Tian's attainments in the Tao of the Blade, coupled with the cultivation environment of the Supreme Hall of the human race, it is not difficult at all to become a child of the universe. Anyway, it's the first apprentice, let's meet. Yi Tian got up and went to the yellow level area. General His Royal Highness cannot cross the area, but Yi Tian is different, his status is very different, and his authority is very high, even higher than the authority of His Royal Highness in the heaven level area in some respects. Therefore, he can freely enter and exit the Huang 29 level area and the Zan level area. Yellow area. Zhou Tian just passed the assessment of a medium-level cultivation environment cultivation tower under the suggestion of the illusory elf butler, and successfully settled in this cultivation tower. I have finally entered the yellow level area of the highest hall of the human race. Master is in the Zan level area. As long as I practice hard, even if I can't catch up with the Master's combat power, at least I hope to be in the same area as the Master. Zhou Tian Heart Dark Road. Suddenly, a voice came from outside. Sunday. The voice was extremely familiar, and Zhou Tian hurriedly walked out of the training tower. Master. Zhou Tian screamed in surprise and immediately came to Yi Tian and made a disciple salute. Immediately, he said again, Master, please come in. Yi Tian nodded with a smile and followed Zhou Tian into his cultivation tower. The first floor of the training tower. Yi Tian sat on the top, and Zhou Tian sat on the side. Master, I thought I had to enter the Zan level area before I could see you, but I didn't expect you to come so soon. 1. Zhou Tian was surprised. You are my apprentice after all. I heard that you have become the child of the universe, so I came to see. Originally, when you were in the 9 stars, I could come and see, but I thought that this would affect your cultivation in the Supreme Hall of the human race. I don't plan to go. Yi Tian said lightly. Zhou Tian nodded slightly, understanding Yi Tian's approach. The two chatted for a while. Suddenly, Yi Tian said, Zhou Tian, it is estimated that in a short time, you will inherit the divine tome of the highest hall of the human race. The divine tome is an extremely important inheritance for the human race, and it is also indispensable for the children of the universe to improve their strength at the emperor level. The method. I chose the chaos body refinement technique, the strongest and highest divine tome of the human race. But I don't want you to choose this divine tome, because it requires cultivators to must gather 12 basic attributes and God-level talents, so that they can hope to refine the body through chaos. You only have 1 or 2 basic attributes and talents that reach the level of God, which is far from the standard, and you can't even get started. Therefore, this Supreme Divine Tome is not suitable for you. I suggest you choose the Supreme Divine Tome of the Tao of the Blade, second only to the Supreme Divine Tome of Chaos, and it is also the most suitable path for you. Of course, the cultivation of the Supreme Divine Tome is very difficult, and ordinary His Royal Highnesses would not dare to choose it, but I believe in you. Master, I understand. Zhou Tian nodded. Then, Yi Tian explained some things, and asked Zhou Tian to take as few detours as possible. As for secret techniques, treasures, etc., Yi Tian did not give them. For the Son of the Universe, foreign objects are basically not that important, and improving one's own strength is the most important. And Yi Tian couldn't help Zhou Tian too much. After all, the two paths were different. Forcibly helping Zhou Tian would only change his path, which was not a good thing for Zhou Tian. Yi Tian stayed here for a few hours on Zhou Tian, and then left here and returned to the Zon level area. Yi Tian is now the most precious and enchanting genius of the human race. The human race will naturally not ignore Yi Tian, plus Yi Tian's contribution to the human race, so some of the opportunities that are of great benefit to Yi Tian, the human race Supreme Hall is naturally the first time thought of Yi Tian. So, on this day, several Supremes of the human race began to discuss a great opportunity, which involved Yi Tian. The highest hall of the human race, somewhere in a mysterious hall. Kunwu Supreme, Juma Supreme, Qingwang Supreme, the three Supremes who are resident in the Supreme Hall of the human race are all present, and the incarnations of other Supremes also come here. At this time, 8 of the 12 Supremes came, and a dozen of the ordinary Supremes also came. All of a sudden, so many Supremes came, just because of one thing. Heavenly Tao Fragment World is about to open. According to the previous rules, each of the 9 Supreme level forces has 2 places, and the Human Race Supreme Hall has a total of 6 places, and these places must be given to His Highnesses above the True God level. In addition, there are still 3 places for some loose cultivator Supremes to bid for. This has been arranged for many previous sessions, but Kunwu Supreme seems to have some opinions. I wonder if that is the case. The person who opened his mouth was one of the Supremes of the Wuji Sword Sect, Wuji Supreme, also the one who created the Wuji Sword Sect, and one of the 12 Supremes. Only one of the 12 Supremes dares to speak like this, otherwise, how can ordinary Supremes dare to say this, and they are not afraid of offending Kunwu Supreme. Kunwu Supreme stared at Wuji Supreme, and said solemnly, yes, this was the rule in the past, but it is different now. I suggest giving Our Highness the human race a place in the Supreme Palace. I think he should have this place. Divine Blade's purpose Divine Blade Supreme wrinkled, said, Kunwu Supreme, His Highness Wanfa's cultivation is only God level, and it does not meet the standard. We can't break the rules just to go to His Highness. That's right, His Highness Wanfa is God level, this is not in line with the rules. If this time I broke the rules for His Highness Wanfa, wouldn't I have to break the rules next time for other His Royal Highnesses or the inheritance of Daozi? Then what's the use of these rules? One by one, the Supremes refuted the situation, and so many Supremes refuted, and they are not afraid of offending Kunwu Supreme. Seeing that many Supreme beings objected, Supreme Kunwu still insisted, everyone, don't forget, His Highness Wanfa has contributed a variety of inheritances and treasures to the human race, even the Supreme Treasure, and also contributed immortal physique. Inheritance, you have also transformed your divine body, divine soul, and divine power into immortal body, immortal soul, and immortal power. Each of your strengths has increased a bit. More importantly, the overall strength of the 9 Supreme level forces has increased a lot. It even doubled the strength of the entire human race. As long as it continues to develop, it is not a problem for the human race to catch up with the gods, and it is even expected to surpass the gods. Is it possible that such a contribution is not enough for a place? The other Supremes remained silent, but Wuji Supreme said, Kunwu Supreme, His Highness Wanfa's contribution is indeed very high, but it can't be said that a high contribution must be given to him. You should know how precious the world of heavenly Tao fragments is. The number of places is too small. To give His Highness Wanfa a place is to deprive other His Royal Highnesses of their places, and it is too unfair to other His Royal Highnesses. Fair, Kunwu Supreme sneered, as the potential of other His Royal Highnesses is high as His Highness 10,000 laws. I can even say that all the Highnesses in the entire human race Supreme Hall together cannot compare to one His Highness 10,000 laws. If there is one of the Protoss His Royal Highness will definitely try his best to cultivate, but when he arrives in our human race, he doesn't even have any preferential treatment. His Royal Highness, Wuji Supreme's pupils shrank, Kunwu Supreme, what do you mean? His Highness Wanfa became His Highness the Supreme. Didn't he become a god not long ago, although it was reported that he had the strength of His Royal Highness as invincible, but His Highness Hengu and Supreme are a huge threshold. Kunwu Supreme was silent for a while, and then said publicly, well, let me tell you 950, in fact, His Highness Wanfa hit the Supreme level when he was at the Emperor level, and now he has returned to the Supreme level at the God level. This is absolutely true, he passed the 10th floor of the Battle Tower not long ago. Emperor level Supreme level, this. Some Supremes suddenly thought about it and thought of a possibility. Divine Blade Supreme was stunned. Kunwu Supreme, did His Highness Wanfa go to the Abyss of Destruction, and you took him there? That's right. Kunwu Supreme nodded and said, I took him to the Abyss of Destruction, and he easily broke the shackles and became His Highness Supreme. In addition, he also cultivated the Chaos Body Refinement technique to the perfect state, and obtained the 18 Golden Body Art has been inherited, and he has practiced the 18 Golden Body Art. Even if he becomes a god, he can continue to improve his physical strength and strength. Coupled with his talent, he definitely has the hope of going through the thunder tribulations again and again. Ladies and gentlemen, I can't guarantee whether Yi Tian can transcend the universe, but once he becomes the Supreme, it is the most powerful Supreme, and it can even be described as the Supreme Supreme. The human race needs a Supreme Supreme, otherwise there will be more. How can the ordinary Supreme beings and the Supreme beings like us compete with the Protoss? At this time, even Wuji Supreme and Divine Blade Supreme were silent. What Kunwu Supreme said is very realistic. The Protoss is too powerful. After all, there are a lot of Supremes, and the Supremes are also very powerful. The strength of the first god of the gods is too terrifying. Ordinary Supremes will definitely be killed in seconds when they encounter the first god, even Kunwu. A powerful Supreme like my Supreme can't stop the first god lord's few tricks. If the Protoss wants to destroy the human race, it is very simple. It's just that the Protoss is held back by the demons, and other cosmic clans will not sit by and watch the Protoss send troops to other cosmic clans. If the human race is content with the status quo, then there is no need to worry about the god race for the time being. But if the human race wants to truly stand shoulder to shoulder with the god race, if there is no supreme being comparable to the first god, it will definitely not be able to compete with the god race and the demon race. And their potential is almost exhausted, there is no way to continue to improve, they can only rely on the younger generation. Well, I agree to give His Highness Wanfa a place. The Promised Supreme nodded helplessly. They also nodded their heads one by one. Chapter 552 The World of Heavenly Tao Fragments. Open black lens bracket full order close black lens bracket. After unanimous agreement, the Supremes began to determine the places. Of course, the 9 Supreme level forces naturally would not give up their places, but gave one of the 6 places in the human race Supreme Hall to Yi Tian. After so finalized, the meeting ended. Not long after, Yi Tian received a notice from Kunwu Supreme, asking him to go to Kunwu Palace. Under the leadership of the Lord of Darkness, Yi Tian came to the Kunwu Temple and met the Kunwu Supreme. I have seen Kunwu Supreme. Yi Tian respectfully greeted Supreme Kunwu. Kunwu Supreme looked at Yi Tian and said solemnly, Yi Tian, I am looking for you this time, and there is a great opportunity for you. Originally this great opportunity was not yours, but after several supreme struggles, finally I've got a spot for you. Big chance. Yi Tian's expression changed, showing interest. Kunwu Supreme said it was a big chance, it must be a useful chance for him, otherwise there is no need to call him here. Of course, he is also a person who has seen big scenes, and has even been to places like Ruin's World, so he is still calm. Kunwu Supreme, what is the big chance? Yi Tian asked calmly. Heavenly Fragment World, Kunwu Supreme said. Heavenly Tao Fragment World, what is that? Yi Tian heard it for the first time and was very curious. Do you know where the Heavenly Tao script was born? Kunwu Supreme said with a smile. Could it be Heavenly Tao Fragment World? Yi Tian was surprised. That's right. Kunwu Supreme nodded. Tian Dao text was born from the world of Tian Dao fragments, and the world of Tian Dao fragments is said to be a special world that evolved from some superfluous cosmic sources at the beginning of the universe, and there are not many such worlds of Tian Dao fragments. And it is very difficult to find. Even our human race has only one Heavenly Tao fragment world. In this Heavenly Tao fragment world, some Heavenly Tao characters will be born every few years. Of course, it is not so easy to get these Heavenly Tao characters. Yes, you need to defeat the Guardian of the Heavenly Way in order to obtain the Heavenly Way text. Heaven's Guardian. Yi Tian didn't understand this, but under Kunwu Supreme's narration, he gradually got to know the so-called Guardian of Heaven. The so-called guardian of the heavenly way is a kind of spirit evolved from the power of the heavenly way, similar to spirits such as illusory elves and artifact spirits. This kind of spirit is only to protect the words of heaven. If you don't kill the guardians of heaven, you can't get the words of heaven. The strange thing is that in the world of Tiandao fragments, the power of Tiandao characters is extremely terrifying. If a strong person above the god level enters the scope of Tiandao characters, their cultivation will be suppressed, and they will not be able to exert themselves at all, and the power of other laws will also be if it is completely suppressed. It can only exert the power of the law represented by this heavenly Tao word. For example, within the scope of the heavenly Tao of fire, the martial artist can only exert the power of the law of fire, and can use the fire-type supernatural powers but cannot use the water-type supernatural powers. Therefore, even a strong person with a high cultivation level may not necessarily be able to obtain the words of heaven. Only warriors with high attainments in a certain law and special means can obtain the words of heaven in the world of Tiandao fragments. Kunwu Supreme, is there time and space in the world of Tiandao fragments? Quote. Yi Tian couldn't help but ask. Ordinary Tiandao characters are really not very useful to him, but time and space Tiandao characters are very useful. Kunwu Supreme shook his head and said, I don't know. In fact, the Supremes can't enter the world of heavenly Tao fragments. This is due to the suppression of the origin of the universe, and the Supremes can't compete with the origin of the universe. And the warriors who have entered the world of heavenly Tao fragments have not. I really understand the world of heavenly Tao fragments, because the heavenly Tao fragment world is so huge, as if it is boundless. There are even rumors that the heavenly Tao fragment worlds all over the universe are connected, but the distance is too far, so there are no two heavenly Tao fragments so far. The warriors of the world have met together. As for whether this rumor is true, it is not clear. But one thing, you need to remember that the area you enter from the entrance is the easiest to find the words of heaven. If you fly far away, it is almost impossible to find the words of Tiandao. As for why this happens, I don't know. So amazing. Yi Tian was even more curious about the world of heavenly Tao fragments. Then, Yi Tian learned a lot of basic information about the fragmented world of the heavenly Tao from Kunwu Supreme. For example, each person could only stay in the fragmented world of the heavenly Tao for 1 year, and the world would be moved out after 1 year. In addition, the entrance to the world of Tiandao fragments is opened once every 500,000 years, and the number of warriors sent each time is fixed. For example, in the fragmented world of the heavenly Tao controlled by the human race, the number of entries for this entrance is 33. The 9 supreme level forces occupy a total of 27 places, each of which has 3 places, and the supreme hall of the human race occupies 6 places. Originally, as a god level he had no quota, but he was granted a quota by exception. Now, there are still 3 months before the world of heavenly Tao fragments. 3 months is not too long, but not too short. Yi Tian intends to use these 3 months to improve his strength, and in the world of heavenly Tao fragments, many methods cannot be used, but there is one method that can be unrestricted, and that is physical strength. Physical power belongs to oneself, not external power, and it is difficult to be restricted. Therefore, Yi Tian is ready to improve his physical strength. Other powerhouses above the god level can't improve the physical body, but he can use the 18 golden bodies to improve the physical strength and strength. At present, he has completed the first 3 sets, and can completely inherit the 4th set of movements. Day 2. Yi Tian entered the inheritance space of the 6 Paths Reincarnation Tower, and set up the 4th set of movements. Under the time acceleration environment, he successfully obtained the inheritance method of the 4th set of movements in just a short time. After returning, Yi Tian made full use of the time acceleration ability to practice the 4th set of movements. After cultivating day by day, the 4th set of movements was finally cultivated to the entry level by Yi Tian, and the physical strength was raised to a new level. Now, Yi Tian doesn't know how powerful he is. Although he is still at the level of His Royal Highness, he is far stronger than ordinary His Royal Highness. It's a pity that there is only one Supreme Highness like him now, and it is difficult to compare with others, so there is no reference object, and there is no way to estimate his own strength. In the blink of an eye, 3 months are coming. Although Yi Tian has not cultivated the 4th set of movements to the perfect state, it is still far away, but he can persist for a few minutes, and this kind of progress is very big. The human race is outside the highest hall. A spaceship is docked here. Yi Tian entered the spaceship in the belt of the Dark Lord. And at the moment of entering the spaceship, he saw an acquaintance. His Royal Highness Qin Chen. Seeing the old acquaintance, Yi Tian walked over. Your Highness Wanfa, His Highness Qin Chen saw Yi Tian and walked over with a smile. His Royal Highness Wanfa, I didn't expect you to come. Qin Chen was very surprised. According to his understanding, only His Royal Highnesses above the true God level have the opportunity to enter the world of heavenly Tao fragments. Yi Tian is only God level, and he actually got one quota. But thinking of Yi Tian's current strength, potential, and status, it's not an exaggeration to get a spot. His Royal Highness Qin Chen, your aura is much stronger than before, you must have stepped into His Highness the Eternal Ancient rank. Yi Tian asked. Fuck, His Royal Highness Qin Chen said with a smile. I was lucky enough to survive in the ruins world before, and got a big chance, and then transformed into a fairy clan, my potential increased a little, and I entered the Eternal Ancient level in one fell swoop. The level of your highness is considered to have returned to this level. I heard that the inheritance of the immortal race was brought out from the world of ruins, so I have accepted your favor. What did His Highness Qin Chen say? Even if there is no immortal inheritance, you still have the potential to return to His Highness the Eternal Ancient. Yi Tian said. Ha ha ha, Your Highness Wanfa, don't compliment me. I also know my potential. This time I was lucky to be promoted to His Highness the Eternal Ancient grade. After I return from the Heavenly Tao Fragment world this time, I will no longer stay in this realm. I will choose to attack the galaxy level. At the level of the Great God, I have stayed for too long. His Royal Highness Qin Chen sighed. The two chatted for a while, and the spaceship took off. Among the 6 places in the human race Supreme Hall this time, there are 3 places at the Great God level, 2 places at the True God level, and only 1 at the God level, Yi Tian. The speed of the spaceship is very fast, 1 day Nolis passes by, and the destination is reached. Southern Cloud Region, one of the 36 regions of the human race, one is considered to be an upper middle star region. Spaceships descended into a silent void. Immediately, the spaceships came down one by one, the true gods and the great gods. These are the true God level inheritance Daozi and the great God level inheritance Daozi of the various supreme level strengths, plus the supreme human race. The 6 royal highnesses of the palace. The inheritance Daozi of the 9 supreme powers and the 6 royal highnesses of the supreme hall of the human race did not contact, but closed their eyes and pondered, waiting for the opening of the world of heavenly fragments. A few hours later, boom, a phantom came down, and it was the incarnation of each supreme. The world of heavenly Tao fragments has opened. The voices of the Supremes came. Although the heavenly Tao fragment world has been opened, it is hidden too deep, and it is naturally impossible to spy on it with the cultivation base of Yi Tian and others. At this time, the power of the Supremes wrapped Yi Tian and others, breaking through countless spaces and sending them into the world of heavenly Tao fragments. Wow, Yi Tian only felt that his eyes flickered, and he appeared in another void. In this void, he felt an unprecedented oppression. The world of heavenly Tao fragments has finally entered. Yi Tian muttered. Chapter 553 Shu Kun, Talent for Sharing Information. Open black lens bracket monthly ticket close black lens bracket. Not far away, His Highness Qin Chen and the others appeared, not far from where Yi Tian was. After these His Royal Highnesses and the Tao inheritors entered the world of heavenly Tao fragments, they immediately separated and searched for the heavenly Tao script. Yi Tian also set off immediately and began to look for the words of heaven. However, when looking for the words of the heavenly Tao also depends on luck, Yi Tian has no way to know where the words of the heavenly Tao are located. Moreover, among the words of heaven, what he wants most is the words of space and time, and as for other words of heaven, he really does not have much desire. But how rare the time Tiandao characters and the space Tiandao characters are, the possibility of wanting to encounter them is too low. Yi Tian was flying aimlessly, and his luck was not bad. After a few days, he finally found a word of heaven. Kill. Yi Tian looked at the text of the heavenly Tao of killing floating in the void in the distance, showing a little interest. The words of the heavenly Tao of killing represent the power of slaughter. For those who follow the way of slaughter, the value of this heavenly Tao word is immeasurable. And the slaughtering supernatural power also needs the words of heaven to kill, otherwise, the slaughtering supernatural power cannot be practiced at all. The power of the words of the heaven of killing has formed a huge field, and in this field, a figure is standing. This figure could not see his face clearly, but his body was full of killing power. Heaven's Guardian, Yi Tian secretly said, the guardians of the heavens guard the words of the heavens. If they do not step into the realm of the words of the heavens, the guardians of the heavens will not attack, but if they enter the realm of the words of the heavens, the guardians of the heavens will attack. In the realm of the words of the heavenly Tao of killing, divine power, immortal power and other energies are suppressed, other supernatural powers and secret techniques cannot be used one by one, and even the power of chaos will be suppressed. In addition, Yi Tian's Heavenly Dao's unique technique, the Heavenly Moon Sword, will also be suppressed to a very weak level, unless his 950 Heavenly Moon Sword is specialized in killing. But in fact, Yi Tian's Heavenly Moon Blade is not the way to kill, although it also contains killing, but killing is not the main factor. Therefore, it is impossible for Yi Tian to exert the power of the Heavenly Moon Blade. I don't know how to kill supernatural powers, and my immortal power is not as good as that of the real god level and great god level highnesses of the human race, but my advantage is physical strength. This is incomparable to other highnesses and the sons of inheritance, so I play in the field of Tiandao characters. The strength that came out was even stronger than those of the great god-level highnesses. Yi Tian secretly said in his heart, "Other His Royal Highnesses and the inheritance of Daozi come to this realm where the words of the Heavenly Dao of killing are transformed, and they may not be able to defeat the guardian of the Heavenly Dao, but Yi Tian's hope is even greater." Then, Yi Tian stepped into this field. Boom! The guardian of the Heavenly Way of killing woke up, a pair of pupils in the darkness stared at Yi Tian, and the extremely rich murderous aura descended. I saw this Heavenly Dao guardian holding a sword of slaughter and slaying in the air. Swish! The terrifying killing sword energy came, as if to kill Yi Tian with one sword. At this time, Yi Tian stimulated the strength of his whole body, and cast the primordial scale armor. Although most of them were suppressed, they could still exert a certain effect. *AJ. Yi Tian slashed over with a knife, and the invisible sword chi met the visible killing sword chi. Boom! The collision has begun! ! The guardian of the Heavenly Dao stepped back a certain distance, but Yi Tian also stepped back a certain distance. Bang bang bang! Yi Tian and the guardian of the Heavenly Dao kept fighting, and the sword light spread throughout the entire field. No, this guardian of the heavens is too powerful, and it is supported by the power of the words of heaven, it will never be exhausted, and it can even maintain its peak state. Yi Tian frowned and pondered, if he continued to fight like this, he would be the one who would lose in the end. So, he had to think of a way. By the way, the power of the guardian of the heavens is derived from the words of the heavens. If the guardians of the heavens and the words of the heavens are isolated, and the guardians of the heavens are isolated from this domain, then the guardians of the heavens should be able to be defeated. 1. If it is others, there may be no way to isolate the guardian of heaven, but Yi Tian really has a way. Space statue. With a thought in Yi Tian's heart, he used this spatial supernatural power. Although the power of space has also been suppressed, resulting in the power of the space god statue is not very powerful, but it can still be displayed. It is enough to be able to perform it. Shu mi palm. One of Yi Tian's hands suddenly grabbed the guardian of the Heavenly Way, and at the cost of the injury, it landed on the top of the guardian of the Heavenly Way. Then, Yi Tian tried his best to mobilize the virtual palm to attract the guardian of the Heavenly Way, and he was bound to inhale it into the virtual world. Boom! The Heavenly Dao Guardian attacked Yi Tian desperately, and Yi Tian desperately inhaled the Heavenly Dao Guardian into Shu Mi's palm. Puff puff! Cracks appeared on Yi Tian's palm, which were scars from the Heavenly Dao Guardian, but Yi Tian still persisted. Finally, whoosh! The Guardian of the Heavenly Dao was brought into the virtual world, and was suppressed by Yi Tian layer by layer. At this time, most of the connection between the guardians of the heavens and the words of the heavens was cut off, but a small part was still connected with the words of the heavens. Walk! Yi Tian flew quickly and flew out of the realm of the words of the heaven of killing in a blink of an eye. After Yi Tian completely left the domain, the connection between the guardian of the heavens and the words of the heavens was almost weakened. Without the blessing of Tiandao characters, the guardians of Tiandao are like rootless duckweed. In a short while, the guardian of the Heavenly Dao was wiped out by Yi Tian again and again, turned into ashes, and dissipated in this world of Heavenly Dao fragments. Immediately, Yi Tian entered the realm of the words of the Heavenly Dao of killing, entered the core, and grabbed the words of the Heavenly Dao of killing. Receive! The words of the heaven of killing were integrated into Yi Tian's soul little by little, finally opening up a small soul space within Yi Tian's soul. Having obtained the words of the Heavenly Dao of killing, Yi Tian is in a good mood, at least he won't gain anything. In the following days, Yi Tian wandered around and discovered several Heavenly Dao words one after another. In the blink of an eye, half a year has passed. It's been half a year, although I have collected the words of the Heavenly Way of killing, the words of the Heavenly Way of fire, the words of the Heavenly Way of wood, the words of the heavenly way of water, the words of the heavenly way of life, the words of the heavenly way of illusion, but unfortunately I still haven't found any words about the heavenly way of time and the words of the heavenly way of emptiness. The trace of the words of heaven. 1. Yi Tian couldn't help sighing secretly. 6 heavenly Tao words, such a harvest is already huge, but Yi Tian is not satisfied at all. What he wants is not these 6 heavenly Tao words, no matter how many such heavenly Tao words, it will not help him very much. You can't go on like this. If you continue to search in this area, even if you find a few ordinary words of heaven's Tao, then the big chance this time will be ordinary for me. Yi Tian thought to himself. After pondering for a while, he decided to go deep into the world of heavenly Tao fragments. Although Kunwu Supreme said that going deep into the world of heavenly Tao fragments will get almost nothing, what if there is hope? It's better than wasting time here. As a result, Yi Tian began to continuously fly to the depths of the heavenly Tao fragment world, flying at the current fastest speed. Time passed slowly like this. Yi Tian has been flying and flying, completely unaware that he is going to fly everywhere. Where is his destination? Someday, a dim light flashed, and the speed was so fast that Yi Tian even thought it was an illusion. That was just now. Yi Tian was extremely surprised. It's a creature. Yi Tian felt that there was nothing wrong with his feeling, although he didn't have time to check it with his copy talent, he was definitely not wrong. Chase. Yi Tian quickly flew in the direction where the dim light disappeared, and has been turning on the copying talent, so as not to miss another opportunity. After about a few hours of chasing, just when Yi Tian was about to give up, the dim light reappeared. This time, although Yi Tian didn't catch up, he used the copy talent to check the opponent's talent in time, and successfully copied all of them. Type. Shuquan. Bloodline talent. U level. Strength talent. Mystery. Speed talent. Mystery. Defensive talent. Mystery. Space talent. God level. Information sharing. God level. Shu Kun. Yi Tian is the first time to see this kind of creature, and the other party actually has a God level space talent. You must know how rare a creature with a God-level space talent is in the universe. And this Shu Kun's speed is very fast, it seems to be flying like a game, but the speed is almost beyond Yi Tian's perception. In the world of heavenly Tao fragments, the strong will be suppressed very powerfully. It can be seen that the strength of this Shu Kun must be very powerful. Although it is not necessarily a cosmic god, it is definitely a realm above the great god level. It is said that there is a higher level of space talent above the God-level space talent, but unfortunately the God-level space talent can't be integrated. Information sharing talent, is this also a kind of talent? Yi Tian was intrigued. So, he began to integrate the talent of information sharing. It didn't take long for Yi Tian to successfully integrate information sharing talents. Originally, Yi Tian didn't care much about the information sharing talent, but after understanding it after the fusion, he was immediately shocked. It turned out to be a god-level talent that can communicate with other Shu Kun regardless of distance. Yi Tian was stunned. When Yi Tian turned on the information sharing talent, he quickly received a set of information. It's so boring here, are there any companions nearby? This set of information must have come from the other end of the virtual Kun, and it is very likely that the other end of the virtual Kun left. After receiving this set of information, Yi Tian suddenly had an idea. If I disguised myself as a Shu Kun, would there be any unexpected gains? Yi Tian thought to himself. P.S. It's a new month, ask for a monthly pass. Chapter 554 The text of the sky in the sky. Open black lens bracket ask for a monthly ticket close black lens bracket. Yi Tian has a talent for camouflage, and also has some treasures that can change his breath and assist in camouflage. It can be said that once it is disguised, unless it is a familiar person, even a galaxy-level and galaxy-level powerhouse may not be able to discern Yi Tian's identity, unless it is a powerhouse with a talent for insight. But that Shu Kun obviously did not have the talent of insight, so it was not easy to see through Yi Tian. In addition, Yi Tian also has a god-level space talent and an information-sharing talent. The creatures with god-level space talent may not only be Shu Kun, but if you add information-sharing talent, it is estimated that there is really only Shu Kun. Therefore, Yi Tian has shown these two kinds of talents. Shu Kun will naturally think that Yi Tian is of the same kind in his heart, and will not doubt Yi Tian's identity. Camouflage. Yi Tian immediately turned into the appearance of Shu Kun. When he copied Shu Kun with his copy talent, he had already seen Shu Kun's appearance, although he would not pretend to be wrong. In the blink of an eye, Yi Tilde Operator Tian turned into an empty Kun. Then, Yi Tian activated the information sharing talent, and contacted that Shu Kun. I am here. Yi Tian sent this message, and that Shu Kun received it quickly, and immediately sent a message using his information sharing talent. You send me a location with your info sharing talent. I'll go and play with you. The dummy replied. Yi Tian immediately sent a positioning to his position. After a while, a ghost appeared. Hey, it turned out to be a little Shu Kun. Did your parents bring you in? Shu Kun asked. I don't know, I came here by accident and found that I couldn't get out. Yi Tian said quickly. Can't get out? Shu Kun stared at Yi Tian and said. That's right, your cultivation is too weak, if you come in by accident, you really can't get out. Do you want me to take you out? However, I don't want to leave for the time being, and if I leave, it will be more troublesome to come in. 1. Then I won't go out, let's play here, can you take me here to play? Yi Tian asked. Sure, Shu Kun agreed. Next, in the communication with Shu Kun, Yi Tian learned some basic information. For example, in the mouth of Shu Kun, it is called this is not called the world of fragments of heaven, but the virtual world. The virtual world is very large, and according to this virtual Kun's understanding, the virtual world is divided into multiple areas, but each area is still connected, but the connection point, the general virtual Kun, is not easy to find. In addition, there are many virtual worlds in the virtual world, and virtual worlds are considered to be the dominant forces in the virtual world, but the number of virtual worlds is small, and there are too many areas in the virtual world, resulting in the same virtual world area. It's hard to come across a quack of the same kind. The purpose of Shu Kun entering the virtual world is very simple, that is, to improve his strength. In the virtual world, in addition to the words of heaven, some special treasures will be born, and Shu Kun can devour these treasures to improve his strength. Come on, here's this. Shu Kun suddenly gave Yi Tian a leaf. The whole body of this leaf is dark and black, but it has a faint golden light. This is the Tiandao leaf, which can offset the virtual pressure of the virtual world, otherwise you won't be able to stay in the virtual world for too long. You can take this Tiandao leaf first, and you can play here as much as you like. If you want to go out, block it. With the power of Tiandao Yi, the virtual world will automatically repel you. This is also a way to leave the virtual world, but you need to wait until the day when the virtual world automatically excludes you. According to my experience, we can stay in the virtual world about 3 years. Shu Kun explained to Yi Tian. 3 years. Yi Tian was slightly surprised. This was much longer than the human race's 1 year. However, when one thinks of the special nature of Shu Kun, it is easy to understand. Immediately, Yi Tian put away the heavenly Dao leaf, wore it on his body, and clamped the heavenly Dao leaf with flesh and blood. In this way, he can stay in the virtual world for a long time. This virtual Kun is called Yama 3, because there is a Yama 1 and a Yama 2 on it. Regarding the way Shu Kun was named, Yi Tian was speechless. And Yi Tian also randomly gave himself a name of Shu Kun, which is called Yi Yi. This name is in line with the characteristics of Shu Kun. Yama-san has no doubts at all, and even said that Yi Tian's name is very good. Suddenly, Yi Tian asked, Yama-san, I saw an area before, there was something in it, I wanted to go in, a figure came out and hit me, I left immediately. What is that? That's the word of heaven. Yama-san said quickly. Yama-san seemed to be very bored, and before Yi Tian continued to ask, he began to tell about the situation of the heavenly Dao characters, which was roughly the same as what Yi Tian knew. However, Yama-san mentioned another important message. Yi Yi, ordinary texts of the heavenly Dao are of no use to our Shuquan. Only the words of the heavenly Dao of the sky can improve the strength of our Shuquan, but the words of the heavenly Dao of the sky are relatively rare. Yama-san said. Yama-san, do you know where the text of the heaven of the sky can be found? Yi Tian asked in anticipation. I know that there are texts of the heavenly Dao in the sky in a place, but the texts of the heavenly Dao of the sky are also good for me, why should I give it to you? Yama-san asked. Although Yama-san is simple and not as scheming as many people, it does not mean that he is stupid. What a precious treasure is the text of the sky, and Shu Kun is almost a space creature, and the desire for the text of the sky is very large, so it is not easy to give the text of the sky to others. I once entered a place and got a space inheritance, and I exchanged the space inheritance for you. Yi Tian took out his chips and said, Space inheritance, could it be the space inheritance of those races in the universe? Yama-san showed interest. Immediately, he asked in surprise, did you enter the main space of the universe? Well, come in once. Yi Tian nodded, and he was now in the universe domain. You are so courageous, and you are not afraid of being caught by the powerhouses in the main space of the universe. Listening to the elders of the clansmen, the value of our Shuquan is very high. Once the powerhouses of the universe powerhouses see us, they will definitely capture us. Research, Yamasan said. Yi Tian nodded again and again, agreeing with Yamasan's words, and not refuting it anyway. Immediately, Yi Tian took out part of the inheritance. This is part of the inheritance, do you see if it works for you? The inheritance he took out was the inheritance of the secret technique in space obtained from the Crystal Spirit clan. As for whether it was useful to Shu Kun, he did not know. After all, he didn't know much about the Shu Kun family at all. Unexpectedly, Yamasan browsed the space inheritance, and immediately said excitedly, "Okay, I want this inheritance. I am willing to trade with you. For flowers." Obviously, this inheritance is of great help to Yamasan. It seems that although the Shuquan family has a high level of space talent, their research on space talent is far inferior to that of the Purple Crystal Spirit clan. It seems that the comprehension of the Shuquan family is not very good. No wonder this Shuquan is in the potential in other aspects is very general. Yi Tian thought to himself. Then, this Shu Kun took Yi Tian to the depths of the virtual world. Yi Tian's speed is very slow, but this Shu Kun's speed is very fast. This Shu Kun's cultivation is at the galaxy level, and with the god level space talent, it seems that he has mastered a space secret technique, and can walk in the virtual world with the power of space, and the speed is far beyond Yi Tian's imagination. At the beginning, Yi Tian saw Shu Kun's fleeting figure. That was not its true speed even made Yi Tian unable to perceive a shadow. Time passed little by little, and 10 days passed in a blink of an eye. This day, Yi Tian came to a ruin under the leadership of Shu Kun Yama-san. That's right, it's ruins. 0. This place is like a continent, but all the buildings above are broken. The buildings here are big, but the style is rather weird. This used to be the seat of an imaginary tribe. They should have moved into the imaginary world and lived here, but they encountered disasters, maybe they escaped, or they fell into the imaginary world. In one of the fortresses, there is a text of the sky in the sky. But the text of the sky in the sky has given birth to the guardian of the heaven. If you want to enter the inside of the fortress, you must face the guardian of the heaven. If it is outside, my strength will definitely kill this easily. I am a guardian of the heavenly way. But unfortunately, when I entered the realm, my virtual power was completely suppressed, and my strength could not be exerted at all, so I couldn't beat you, the guardian of the heavenly way. Yama-san pointed to a fort in the center and said. You can't beat it, how can I beat it? Yi Tian asked. When I enter the realm, my cultivation will be suppressed, but your cultivation is low, and the degree of suppression will be a little less. As long as it depends on your attainments in space, you have obtained this inheritance, and it should be based on the laws of space. You have high attainments, maybe you can get through it. I brought you to the place where the words of the sky in the sky are located, you won't go back on it, will you? Yama-san said. I won't go back, I'll give it to you. Yi Tian passed on the remaining space to Yama-san. This inheritance is of little value to him, and if it is given, it will be given. Yama-san got all the inheritance and was excited. And Yi Tian flew into the fortress and quickly entered the fortress. Which tribe's little guy is too deceitful? I used a piece of information that he couldn't get, and obtained such a precious inheritance. It is estimated that I have little knowledge and do not know the preciousness of this inheritance. Yama-san thinking that he took a big advantage, he laughed happily. It did not leave, but waited here. After Yi Tian failed, he would take Yi Tian to play and make up for Yi Tian's loss. In the fort, as soon as Yi Tian entered, he stepped into the realm of the words of the heaven of the sky and saw the words of the heaven of the sky. It really is the words of the sky, Yama-san didn't lie to me. Yi Tian said in surprise. P.S. Dear readers, I beg for a monthly pass. Righteousness. Chapter 555 Void Demon, Heavenly Dao Tree. Open black lens bracket monthly pass close black lens bracket. In the field of text of the sky, the guardian of the heaven is standing there, silently guarding. Yi Tian stepped into the text field of the heavenly Dao of the sky, and the heavenly Dao guardian took action. To drive Yi Tian, and even kill Yi Tian. Boom. The power of the guardian of the heaven of the sky is far more powerful than the previous guardian of the heavens of death. After all, the power of the words of the heaven of the sky can far exceed the words of the heaven of death. I saw the heavenly Dao guardian of the sky suddenly reached out with a hand, tore apart the space, and grabbed Yi Tian. The surrounding space is completely imprisoned, if ordinary people really have no way to break free. However, Yi Tian also has a god-level spatial talent, so he can offset the spatial confinement of the guardian of the heavens. Then, Yi Tian used the myriad layers, one of the spatial supernatural powers. Swish, layers of enchantments were suppressed on the body of the guardian of the heavenly way, weakening the strength of the guardian of the heavenly way, and making it difficult for the guardian of the heavenly way to attack Yi Tian. Space statue. Yi Tian used another spatial supernatural power to attack the guardian of the heavenly way. The two spatial supernatural powers, coupled with Yi Tian's powerful physical body, was not weaker than the guardian of the heavens at all for a while. In a blink of an eye, the two sides fought for a long time. Strange, why didn't 950 Yi come out? Yama was very curious. According to his estimation, Yi should fail soon. You won't be killed, will you? Yama-san thought to himself. Immediately, its divine sense penetrated into the realm, but the divine sense would be suppressed so severely that it was difficult to see the situation inside clearly. In the Tiandao text field, if one creature enters at a time, the second creature will be blocked if it wants to break into the field, unless the power of the entire field is broken. But even if it is, there is no way to break the power of the entire field at once, which is equivalent to destroying the words of heaven. Boom. At this time, Yi Tian was fighting extremely fiercely with the guardian of the heavenly Tao, and Yama-san vaguely sensed the scene of the battle, and was immediately stunned. Amazing, Yi's parents should be very amazing, they are definitely the strongest among Shukun. Otherwise, there is no way to give birth to such a powerful offspring. 1 inch. At this moment, he suddenly had an idea. Perhaps Yi Tian can really defeat the guardian of the heavenly way and win the text of the heavenly way of the sky. In the field, the guardians of the heavenly way have many methods, and they can use the power of space to the extent they want, and they can even turn the power of space into weapons such as guns, knives, shields, etc., showing a more terrifying attack power. Compared with the methods of the heavenly Tao guardian, Yi Tian's methods are a little more immature, but they are many times more sophisticated than other space talents. Yi Tian has the ancient chaos realm as a support, and his strength will hardly be exhausted, so he is not worried about the problem of fighting stamina. Time just passed by like this. At the beginning, Yi Tian just wanted to defeat the guardian of the heavenly way, but later he had a thought, that is to join forces with the guardian of the heavenly way, and use the space means of the guardian of the heavenly way to hone his own space means, and even absorb the essence of space from the opponent to increase his control over the power of space. In the process of battle, it is very difficult to train oneself, but Yi Tian has super comprehension and comprehension talent, plus his understanding of space power is not shallow, so there is definitely hope to control space power, take it up a notch. In this way, Yi Tian fought with the heavenly Tao guardian for half a month. This day, Yi Tian suddenly manipulated the power of space law into a knife. Cut. The blade of space law tore apart the domain space, bombarded the guardian of the heavenly way, and suddenly shook the guardian of the heavenly way back. Of course, it is impossible to defeat the heavenly Tao guardian by this alone. After all, the achievements of the heavenly Tao guardian in space attainments are not comparable to Yi Tian. Therefore, Yi Tian continued to train himself and manipulate the power of space. Gradually, Yi Tian's control of space power became more and more skillful, and even gradually approached the guardian of heaven. With the improvement of spatial power control, Yi Tian gradually had a different understanding of spatial supernatural powers. The magical power of 10,000 layers is indeed very powerful. It can create 10,000 layers of enchantment, but it is used to deal with real powerhouses. 10,000 layers of enchantments are no different from those made of paper, and the quantity cannot improve the quality. If you fuse 10,000 layers into one layer, the power of this layer is far more than 10,000 layers. Previously, the reason why I couldn't integrate 10,000 layers was because the control of space power was not strong, and I couldn't do it at all. The evolution of supernatural powers. Yi Tian thought, the evolution of supernatural powers is a disguised improvement after the perfection of supernatural powers. This truth, Yi Tian has always understood, but it is very difficult to do. For example, the fire dragon magical power is a very common magical power among the fire-type magical powers. Once released, it will form a fire dragon, but if the magical power can be evolved, then the fire dragon will be transformed into various forms, and its power will be even more terrifying. The same is true of space magic. The evolution of supernatural powers is also an inevitable step in the development of supernatural powers to the end. Many Almighty cannot cultivate into a great supernatural power, and can only progress in the direction of the evolution of supernatural powers, thereby enhancing the power of supernatural powers. And now, Yi Tian has also come to this step. Day by day, Yi Tian's myriad layers formed less and less enchantments. From 10,000 layers to 9,000 layers of enchantment, and then to 8,000 layers of enchantment, and then the rate of enchantment reduction is getting faster and faster. 9, 8-fold, 7-fold, 6-fold, 5-fold. This day, Yi Tian's myriad realm has become a first realm, which seems to be a step backward, but it is actually a great progress. Boom! The attack of the Guardian of the Heavenly Way came again. Yi Tian waved his hand, and the first-level world formed by the fusion of the 10,000 layers easily blocked the attack of the Guardian of the Heavenly Way. It can't be called the first realm, it should be called the supernatural power of 10,000 returned to 1. 1. Yi Tian secretly said. With Wanzhong Gai divine ability, it is almost impossible for the Heavenly Dao Guardian to hurt Yi Tian, and the suppression effect of Wanzhong Gai divine ability is far beyond the Wanzhong realm of perfection, weakening the Heavenly Dao Guardian's strength even more ruthlessly. Therefore, Yi Tian's strength began to suppress the Guardian of the Heavenly Dao. In the battles again and again, the Guardians of the Heavenly Way began to be weak, and were finally taken into the virtual world in the virtual palm by Yi Tian, and then they were crushed and turned into nothingness. After killing the Heavenly Dao Guardian, Yi Tian easily took the Sky Heavenly Dao text and put it into his soul. Wow! Yi Tian flew out of the castle. Yi, you are so amazing. I didn't expect that you only reached the god level, and you took away the text of the sky and the sky. If it was passed back to the clan, the other clansmen would definitely be shocked. I think that at the god level, the strength is definitely the first. Yama-san praised. Just a fluke, Yi Tian said modestly. After obtaining the text of the heaven of the sky, Yi Tian's purpose has been completed. He originally wanted to leave here, but the next sentence of Yama-san made him change his mind. Yi, although your cultivation is weak, your combat effectiveness is very strong at the same rank. I know a treasure land, are you interested in going with me? There are dangers in the periphery, I will help you out, but there is a place in the core area, I can't go in, you can go in. I think with your strength, you should be able to go in. I only need one thing there, and the rest belongs to you. Yama-san suggested. Yama-san, where is it, is there any danger? Yi Tian asked. Not too dangerous. Yama-san quickly informed Yi Tian of the basic situation of the place. It turned out that the place Yama-san mentioned was another virtual world area, but that area was a little different, because a strange race was born there, called the Virtual Demon Family. The Void Demon Clan is a true imaginary world creature, controlling the power of the heavens, and is almost immortal in the imaginary world. Although the strength is not very strong, it is a very troublesome race because it is almost indestructible. Certainly, the Void Demon family is territorial and hardly leaves the territory. The Void Demon Clan also holds the Heavenly Dao Tree, which is the treasure of the Void Demon Clan, and the Heavenly Dao Leaf is a leaf plucked from the Heavenly Dao Tree, and a Heavenly Dao Tree has about 1,000 leaves. But for Yama-san, Tian Dao Tree and Tian Dao Leaf are not important. After all, this thing can't improve strength, and the Shuquan family has no value for money. Unless it's something useful to you, you don't care much about other things. Words like heaven and the sky are important to every Shuquan, so they are extremely precious, and among the Shuquan clan, those who are not weak basically have Heavenly Dao leaves. That day, the Daoe leaves are not of much value to the Shuquan family, and they naturally will not collect Tian Dao leaves. What Yama-san really cares about is the muxin of the Heavenly Dao bred in the Heavenly Dao space inside the Heavenly Dao tree. Tian Dao muxin is a rare treasure that can improve bloodline talent. Although Yama-san's bloodline talent has reached the U level, it wants to be raised above the U level, and there is almost nothing in the universe that can raise the U level cultivation talent by another level, but Tian 5.7 Dao Mu Shin can do it. Arrive. But Yama-san himself can't enter the Heavenly Dao space, because the Heavenly Dao space can only allow creatures with weak cultivation bases to enter, and once entering the Heavenly Dao space, the cultivation base will be completely suppressed, even to a degree that is even more suppressed than the realm of the Sky Heavenly Dao text. Fear. Therefore, Yama-san himself did not dare to enter the Heavenly Dao space, otherwise he might really fall into the Heavenly Dao space. Yi, although I don't know what level your bloodline talent is, I can guarantee that once I get the Heavenly Dao muxin, I will only need half of it. You know, this Void Demon Clan's territory was discovered by chance. Other Shu-kun don't know. In addition, you can't break into the Heavenly Dao tree without me helping you solve those illusory demons. Would you like to go? If you want, let's start now. If not, then we separate now. Yama-san asked. Yi Tian pondered for a while, and finally nodded. Okay, I will. It is actually very curious about the Void Demon clan, as well as the Tiandao tree and Tiandao Muxin, and wants to capture some Tiandao leaves. To the Shuquan family, the heavenly Dao leaf is nothing, but to the human race, the heavenly Dao leaf is extremely precious, which means that the strong men of the human race can stay in the virtual world in the future. Perhaps in the future, the human race can build a base in the virtual world. Chapter 556 Tiandao Muxin, the unexpected guardian of Tiandao. Open black lens bracket monthly pass close black lens bracket. Go, I'll take you to the domain of the Void Demon clan. Yama-san said urgently. Immediately, Yama-san quickly moved with Yi Tian, and a month later, Yi Tian saw a huge hole. This hole appeared in his line of sight, as if the void of the virtual world had been pierced. Yi, this is one of the passages leading to other areas of the virtual world. Otherwise, if you want to pass through various areas of the virtual world, even me, you have to pay a little price. 1. Yama-san said. Yi Tian nodded, followed Yama-san into this passage, and soon came to another virtual world area. Certainly, this virtual world area is not Yi Tian and Yama-san's destination. They need to pass through several virtual world areas before they can finally reach the area where the virtual demon clan is. Just like that, time passed slowly. In the blink of an eye, more than 4 months have passed. And now, there are not many days until the 1-year period. Yi Tian thought to himself that if he was not repelled by the virtual world after a year, would the human race powerhouses in the outside world think that he had fallen? Probably not. I am not the child of the universe now, and I am not blessed by the universe, so it should not be difficult to deduce my life and death. Besides, even if it is the child of the universe, the supremes of the human race can deduce life and death. Yi Tian thought to himself. Immediately, he stopped thinking about these issues. Yi Tian just passed through a passage and came to an unfamiliar virtual realm area, and the voice of Yama-san came from his ears. Arrive. At 29 o'clock, Yama-san reminded. Remember, when encountering virtual demons, there is no need to use unique tricks, because they cannot be killed, as long as they are seriously injured or trapped. Otherwise in places like the virtual world, it was originally suppressed, and it was a complete waste of energy to try to kill the void demon. I know, Yi Tian nodded, but this time, he is only an assistant, and he will not necessarily fight against the void demon. He mainly relies on Yama-san, a galaxy-level void. Swish, one person and one virtual coon flew to the center of this area. A few days later, Yi Tian saw a creature that was pitch black and covered with scales, and looked like a humanoid. Is this a ghost? Yi Tian asked. Yes, this is the void demon. Yama-san responded. Then, Yama-san's thoughts moved, and a space blade slashed past. Whoops! This void demon was directly cut open by a space blade of Yama-san, and even the entire body burst open and turned into countless fragments. But in the blink of an eye, the phantom returned to its original state. Not dead. Yi Tian really understood what immortality was, and it was obviously just a phantom demon with a god-level cultivation, and the space blade of a galaxy-level powerhouse could not kill it. If it was before, Yi Tian couldn't believe it at all. But now, he had to believe it. Copy talent. Yi Tian turned on the copying talent and shrouded this illusory demon, and wanted to see if this illusory demon had any amazing talent. Type. Void. Bloodline talent. Shiri level. Strength talent. Top. Speed talent. Mystery. Undying talent. Top. Healing talent. Mystery. There is no special talent. It seems that the immortal clan cannot die, not because of talent, but because this clan can stay immortal with the help of the heavenly power of the imaginary world. 1. Yi Tian thought to himself. But this ability has limitations, that is, it is limited to the area of the void, and it cannot leave here, otherwise it will not be able to control the power of heaven to remain immortal. And the void demons themselves are very weak, so they dare not leave their territory at all. Otherwise, once they leave their territory, if the void demons are a little dangerous, they will die. After all, their own strength is really weak. Don't be afraid, the void demon clan in this area is not strong. The most powerful one is also of the galaxy level, but its strength is much worse than mine. Although I can't kill it, I can use space magic to trap it. As for the phantom demons in my midst can't pose any threat to me at all. You can attack the phantom demons, but you must not leave me too far, otherwise I may not be able to rescue you in time. Yama-san warned. Yi Tian kept in mind and knew that his strength was still very weak, so he naturally did not dare to leave Yama-san too far. As they penetrated into the territory of the virtual demon clan, they encountered more and more virtual demons, but these virtual demons were completely unable to compete with Yama-san, and were easily defeated by Yama-san. Although they could not kill them, they could make them weak, can no longer attack Yama-3. After a while, Yama-san brought Yi Tian to the area where the Heavenly Dao Tree was located, which was also the headquarters of the Void Demon. That's the Heavenly Dao Tree. Yama-san pointed to the rooted giant tree. Yi Tian looked at it and saw a golden giant tree rooted in the void, firmly connected to this void. There were many leaves on the tree, these leaves were black, but golden light pierced through the body. It is the Heavenly Dao leaf. The breath of this plant is extremely supreme, and it even conveys a force that is hard to resist. The power of heaven, Yi Tian muttered. This Heavenly Dao tree is a real treasure, but unfortunately it is difficult to take away, but the Heavenly Dao leaf is not difficult to take away. At this moment, a bunch of virtual demons rushed over. Because they can hardly be killed, these illusory demons are not afraid of death at all. Even if Yama-san is a galaxy-level power, they still refuse to admit it and rush over in a desperate manner. Yama's 3 giant mouths roared violently, the space oscillated and swept across the space. A large number of virtual demons were shaken into powder, but in a blink of an eye they were complete again, but they fell into a weak state. Shu-kun, you are here again. The great elder of the Void Demon clan appeared, and the aura of a galaxy-level powerhouse shrouded him. At this moment, Yama-san teleported over and created a huge space ball that enveloped the great elder of the Void Demon clan, suppressing it and trapping it. Boom! No matter how the elders of the Void Demon clan attacked, they could not break the space ball created by Yama-san. As for the other Void Demons, although they wanted to rescue their great elders, their strength was too weak, and Yama-san could knock them up in the air. Yi, hurry in. Yama-san said. Yama-san, I'll collect some Heavenly Dao leaves first. Yi Tian hurriedly flew to the Tiandao tree and began to pick a piece of Tiandao leaves. Seeing this scene, Yama-san said helplessly, Yi, this Heavenly Dao leaf is useless, didn't I give you 1 piece? 1 piece is enough, what are you doing with so much? Yi ignored it and continued to collect Tiandao leaves. If he is really Shu-kun, he will definitely not care about Tiandaoye, but he is a human race. This Tiandaoye is a treasure for the human race, and its value is too high. If there is nothing to gain inside the Heavenly Dao tree, these Heavenly Dao leaves alone are enough to make him a lot of money. If you don't take these Heavenly Dao leaves, and there is no gain in the inner space of the Heavenly Dao tree, wouldn't it be a waste of time? After a while, Yi Tian plucked all the thousands of leaves on the Heavenly Dao tree and put them into his own virtual world. In the future, I am afraid that it will take a long time before the Heavenly Dao tree will be covered with thousands of leaves again. At this time, Yi Tian just planned to enter the Heavenly Dao space inside the Heavenly Dao tree. The Heavenly Dao space is connected with the outside world, and Yi Tian has a god-level space talent, so he can naturally sense the spatial fluctuations of the Heavenly Dao space. Following the spatial fluctuations, Yi Tian shuttled into the Heavenly Dao space. As soon as he entered the Heavenly Dao space, he felt a strong suppression. Tian Dao Mu Xin, don't know where this thing is. Yi Tian began to look for Mu Xin, the Dao of Heaven. Suddenly, several murderers rushed over. Swish. Yi Tian moved and started, using the copy talent to look at it, only to find out that it was several illusory demons. By the way, the Void Demon clan will definitely send some Void Demons to stay in the Heavenly Dao space. However, even the Void Demon clan will be suppressed in the Heavenly Dao space. My strength here is definitely stronger than other Void Demons. Yi Tian is confident full. Return to 1 magical power. The 10,000 layered barrier turned into a single layer, which was easily lower than the attacks of those illusory demons. And although Yi Tian's attack can penetrate or tear the Void Demon again and again, there is no way to kill it. 950 in desperation, Yi Tian could only bring these virtual demons into the virtual world in the palm of Shu Mi, trapping them temporarily. Seeing one trapped one, after a while, all the virtual demons guarded by the Heavenly Dao space were taken into the virtual world in the palm of Yi Tian's hands. Soon, Yi Tian came to the center of the Heavenly Dao space. Here, he saw a golden lake, the golden liquid substance flowing in the lake, filled with unimaginable pure energy. Yi Tian doesn't know what the liquid substance in this golden lake is, but it definitely feels like a good thing. And on the golden lake floated a light group. The light group had a colored wood, not very long, about 2 greater than long, 2 parts thick. Heavenly Dao Muxin, Yi Tian was pleasantly surprised. This piece of wood must be the heart of heaven's path, and it can't be wrong. Immediately, Yi Tian wanted to reach out and grab the wooden heart of the heavenly Tao, but then the light group shook slightly and directly sent Yi Tian flying out. At this time, Yi Tian suddenly woke up. Tiandao Muxin is the original treasure nurtured by the Tiandao tree. How could it be without any protection? If it was taken away so easily, wouldn't everyone be able to take it away? Boom! A powerful breath suddenly came out from the light group. Then, a figure came out of the light group. This figure is a golden armor, golden cloak, and is full of golden guanwei and the power of heaven. Heaven's guardian. Yi Tian became solemn slightly. This heavenly Tao guardian is obviously not simple, even more terrifying than the heavenly Tao guardian I encountered in the sky heavenly Tao text field before. There is a guardian of the heavenly Tao here, but Yamasan didn't tell him, maybe even Yamasan didn't know it well. After all, Yamasan never entered the heavenly Tao space. Moreover, with the difficulty of the heavenly Tao space, it is difficult for other Shu Kun to successfully take away the heavenly Tao Muxin. Therefore, the Shu Kun family did not know much about the heavenly Tao space. As long as I defeat this guardian of the heavenly Tao, I should be able to take away the heavenly Tao Muxin. Yi Tian thought to himself. Chapter 557 Heavenly Tao Gold Liquid, the fourth set of actions is complete. Open black lens bracket seeking monthly ticket. This heavenly Tao guardian is very powerful. Yi Tian felt that even if he could defeat this heavenly Tao guardian, he would have to pay a certain price. After all, this heavenly Tao guardian is very extraordinary, not comparable to the previous heavenly Tao guardian. Although I can pretend to be defeated and go out to fool Yama-san, but it's not good, and Yama-san has helped me a lot, it's too boring. I still do my best to defeat this guardian of the heavenly way and seize the way of heaven. Be careful. Yi Tian secretly planned. Boom! The heavenly Tao guardian shot and punched Yi Tian with a punch. Cut! Yi Tian used the Tianyu saber, which collided with the fist of the heavenly Tao guardian. In an instant, Yi Tian was knocked out and his body was extremely sore. So strong. Yi Tian was slightly surprised. This guardian of heaven contains the power of heaven, breaking all laws with one punch, and there are not too many fancy movements, not even the power of laws, but the power of heaven in the virtual world, crushing all laws of the virtual world. Fortunately, it was Yi Tian. If it was someone else, the physical body would definitely not be able to withstand the impact of the heavenly Tao, and would be instantly crushed. A powerful body is the capital for Yi Tian to fight with the guardian of the heavenly way, otherwise he would not dare to fight against such a guardian of the heavenly way. Boom boom boom. Yi Tian and the heavenly Tao guardian kept fighting, and Yi Tian also used the myriad realm divine ability to transform into a formation to resist the attack. It's just that magical powers like myriad layers are suppressed here, otherwise Yi Tian wouldn't be so exhausted. Chaos Palm, Hunyuan Scale Armor. 1. Hunyuan Vine. Yi Tian has used various methods. Although these methods are difficult to exert real power, they can still exert a certain attacking effect. Although Yi Tian is difficult to defeat the heavenly Tao guardian, this heavenly Tao guardian is also difficult to really hurt Yi Tian. Time just dragged on like this. Day by day time passed slowly. No, it is impossible to defeat this guardian of the heavenly way. It is too powerful, and the power comes from the heavenly way, which is almost inexhaustible. Yi Tian thought so, and immediately flew away. When Yi Tian flew far away, the guardian of the heavenly way merged into the light group and disappeared. Soon, Yi Tian returned to this golden lake. However, this time Yi Tian did not touch the light group. When he couldn't defeat the heavenly Tao guardian, he couldn't take away the heavenly Tao Muxin in the light group, and touching the light group was to cause trouble for himself. At this time, Yi Tian's eyes stared at the golden lake. The liquid substance in this lake is definitely a treasure. I don't know what it is. Out of curiosity, Yi Tian took a little liquid substance, and after hesitating for a while, he swallowed it and tried it. This is very dangerous, but Yi Tian feels that since this liquid substance is a kind of energy, it may be helpful for cultivation. Boom! Terrifying energy erupted in Yi Tian's body, causing Yi Tian to quickly run the Chaos Body Refinement Technique and begin refining. Although the Chaos Body Refinement Technique can no longer be practiced, it is also very good as a refining method. But even the refining of the Chaos Body Refinement art can't completely absorb the energy of these liquid substances. So, Yi Tian thought of the fourth set of movements of the 18 Golden Body Art. Now, Yi Tian has only initially practiced this fourth set of movements, and is far from practicing it to the perfect state. He is going to try to practice the fourth set of movements to see if the fourth set of movements can help him digest the energy in his body. Wow! Yi Tian poses the fourth set of movements, and runs the fourth set of exercises. Boom! The terrifying pressure attacked. This was the pressure generated by the 18 golden body art and the confrontation between heaven and earth. Yi Tian didn't understand how this pressure came from before, but now it is clear. To put it simply, the 18 golden body art is a method that defies the sky. It uses the confrontation with the heaven and the earth to let the heaven and the earth suppress him, thereby breaking the restrictions again and again and improving the strength of the physical body. When confronting the heaven and the earth, the flesh body is under unimaginable pressure, the body cells consume energy quickly, and the speed of absorbing energy is also extremely fast. Therefore, the 18 golden body art is very effective in absorbing energy. At this time, Yi Tian had already put on the fourth set of movements, and the energy in his body was rapidly being consumed. In addition, Yi Tian surprisingly found that he persisted for a long time. This golden liquid substance has the effect of promoting the cultivation of my 18 golden body art. Maybe I can use these golden liquid substances to cultivate the fourth set of movements to the perfect state. At that time, my physical strength will skyrocket, maybe I can beat that guardian of the heavenly Tao. Yi Tian thought so. At the same time, he also gave this golden liquid substance a name, Heavenly Tao Gold Liquid. Immediately, Yi Tian took out some Heavenly Tao Gold Liquid, absorbed and refined it, and practiced the fourth set of movements of the 18 golden body jutsu. Of course, Yi Tian also turned on the time acceleration, which can shorten the time. Otherwise, if he practiced here for too long, the third-ranked Yamama outside would become impatient, and if he left here, he would be in trouble. While Yi Tian was cultivating frantically regardless of the effect of the Heavenly Tao Gold Liquid, Yi Tian's physical strength increased at a speed visible to the naked eye. Time passes day by day. In the blink of an eye, half a month has passed. At this time, Yi Tian had already refined a lot of Heavenly Tao Gold Liquid, but compared to the entire Heavenly Tao Gold Liquid lake, this little Heavenly Tao Gold Liquid was nothing. The fourth set of moves is finally complete. Yi Tian was extremely excited. At this time, in front of the physical body, it reached the limit. It can even be said that if he does not activate his defensive talents and other means of defense, the whole person is standing here, and none of the God-level 9th rank powerhouses can break his fleshly body. Now, my strength should be enough to defeat that guardian of the heavenly way. Yi Tian estimated. So, he flew to the light group and touched the light group. Boom, the heavenly Tao guardian appeared, and after seeing Yi Tian, he immediately attacked. Roll. Yi Tian used the Chaos Palm to bombard the past. With the powerful physical strength and the increase of Chaos Palm, Yi Tian's palm has reached a terrifying level. The guardian of the heavenly Tao tried to fly Yi Tian with a punch, but after the punch and the palm collided, the guardian of the heavenly Tao himself was knocked into the air and hit the light group, causing a huge shock wave. The guardian of heaven is injured. Yi Tian clearly sensed that the armor on the guardian of the heavenly Tao was cracked, and his breath began to weaken a little. Obviously, Yi Tian's current strength has surpassed this heavenly Tao guardian. Boom! The fierce fighting has begun. Under Yi Tian's repeated attacks, the guardian of the heavenly Tao was continuously injured. Although he had the blessing of the heavenly Tao and his strength was inexhaustible, the injury was too late to recover. Half an hour later, Yi Tian's heavenly moon knife completely smashed the heavenly Tao guardian, turning it into a light spot and dissipating. At the same time, the light group on the lake also dissipated, leaving only Tiandao Mushin floating there. Success! Yi Tian was very excited and flew to Tiandao Muxin and grabbed Tiandao Muxin. It's just that Tiandao Muxin is still connected to the Tiandao tree. Yi Tian pulls Tiandao Muxin with all his strength, and pulls it little by little into the virtual world. Under such a pull, the heavenly Dao tree began to tremble. Outside world, Yama-san has always maintained the state of trapping the elders of the Void Demon clan. Although the other Void Demon clan recovered, but they couldn't help Yama-san, and they were constantly being knocked away, and they couldn't help Yama-san at all. But these virtual demons are not afraid of death, they keep attacking and attacking again and again, like tireless machines. Suddenly, Yama-san looked at the swaying Tiandao tree, and was immediately pleasantly surprised. It won't be Yi who successfully obtained the Tiandao Muxin. I only heard that our ancestors used a great secret treasure to get away with it. So once, after obtaining the heavenly Dao Muxin, the descendants never succeeded again. Until now, the heavenly Dao Muxin has become a legend, and I didn't really expect Yi to be able to successfully obtain the heavenly Dao Muxin. It was just a try. Did not expect. The powerhouses of the Void Demon clan were also panicked. The heavenly Dao tree was their foundation, and nothing could go wrong. But the heavenly Dao space is not so easy to enter. They have no god-level space talent, and they must use special methods and prepare for a long time before they can send the clansmen in. And now, they are fighting with the enemy, how can there be time to prepare? Finally got it in. Yi Tian breathed a sigh of relief and he took Tiandao Muxin into the virtual world, which was equivalent to successfully taking Tiandao Muxin away. There is also the heavenly Dao gold liquid. Yi Tian's eyes turned to the golden lake. So many heavenly Dao gold liquid is definitely a treasure. Others have no way to improve the physical strength after the god level. In their eyes, these heavenly Dao gold liquids are just energy things similar to divine crystals, but in Yi Tian's eyes, they are the supreme treasures that can improve the physical body. Immediately, Yi Tian took out a space storage bottle and quickly collected the heavenly Dao gold liquid. However, when the heavenly Dao gold liquid was collected in 1/3 of the lake, it could no longer be collected. Heavenly Dao gold liquid should be one of the roots of the heavenly Dao tree, similar to the source. If all are collected, the heavenly Dao tree is estimated to be dead, and the heavenly Dao tree's self-protection system makes it impossible for outsiders to take away the rest of the heavenly Dao gold liquid. 1. Yi Tian guessed Dao quality. He tried several methods. No matter how he took the heavenly Dao gold liquid, a force would appear to stop him. In desperation, Yi Tian could only give up this plan. Anyway, he has already taken 1/3 of the heavenly Dao gold liquid, so much heavenly Dao gold liquid is enough for Yi Tian to practice for a long time. It's time to leave the heavenly Dao space. Yi Tian released the suppressed release party in the empty palm, and immediately followed the fluctuations and entered the heavenly Dao space. Chapter 558 The Great Power of Space. First update. Outside the heavenly Dao tree. As soon as Yi Tian appeared, the surrounding virtual demons rushed over, trying to kill Yi Tian. Sudden, Yamasan waved his hand and directly used the ability of space transformation to move Yi Tian to his side. This is also an application of space talent. Yi Tian has this ability, and Yama-san has god-level space talent, so naturally he also has this ability. How about it? Yama-san asked quickly. Success. Yi Tian replied. Okay, then let's leave now. These illusory demons are so annoying, they won't kill you if you beat them. 1. Yama-san said. Swish. Yama-san took Yi Tian to easily pass through the encirclement, and the strength of these illusory demons was too weak to catch up with Yama-san. Soon, Yama-san got rid of these virtual demons and successfully left this area. Another area of the virtual world. Yama-san stopped and asked impatiently, Yi, have you really obtained the heavenly Dao Muxin? It still can't believe it until now, although Yi Tian said that he got it, but he didn't see the real thing, it was still a little unsure. This is Tiandao Muxin. Yi Tian took out Tiandao Mushin and placed it in front of Yama-san. At this time, Yama-san stared at Tiandao Muxin and murmured, yes, it's really Tiandao Muxin. According to the records in the clan, Tiandao Muxin is like this. After staring for a while, Yama-san said, Yi, according to the regulations, we each have half of it. One piece of Tiandao Muxin is enough for 10 clansmen to raise the cultivation talent of U level to chaos level, and they are not afraid of wasting this piece of Tiandao Muxin. Quote. After speaking, Yama-san cut Tiandao Muxin into 2 pieces. Yama-san put away a part himself, and Yi Tian also put away a part. Ha ha ha, yes, this time I entered the virtual world, but I didn't expect to get the heavenly Dao Muxin. Yi 950, let's go, I will take you to play for a while, there are many good places in the virtual world, I will show you the way. Yama-san said happily. Okay, Yi Tian nodded. It is not easy for him to leave at this time, otherwise it will easily arouse Yama-san's suspicion. Anyway, it has been a year now, and it is fine to go out later. When Yama-san took Yi Tian to play around in the virtual world, the Human Race Supreme Hall discussed the matter of Yi Tian for a long time. When the 1-year period just arrived, the Highness of the Human Race Supreme Hall and the inheritors of the 9 supreme level forces came out from the world of heavenly Dao fragments, but Yi Tian was missing. After asking, no one has seen Yi Tian. At the beginning, those His Royal Highnesses and the Taoist inheritance thought that Yi Tian had fallen into the fragmented world of the heavenly Dao. Some people regretted it, some gloated, and some were even extremely happy. This matter also attracted the attention of the Supremes, so many Supremes began to deduce the situation of Yi Tian. The final result obtained is, Yi Tian has not fallen, and is still in the fragmented world of the heavenly Dao. As for Yi Tian's current situation, no one knows. Then, Kunwu Supreme sent people to wait for the entrance and exit of the heavenly Dao fragment world, but Yi Tian did not wait for Yi Tian to come out. The highest hall of the human race, Kunwu Hall. Several Supremes are having a meeting to discuss the matter of Yi Tian. Kunwu Supreme, is there any news about Yi Tian? The Curse Supreme asked. No, Kunwu Supreme shook his head. Yi Tian is still in the world of heavenly Tao fragments, which is very strange. It stands to reason that everyone can only stay in the world of heavenly Tao fragments for 1 year. After 1 year, they will be destroyed by the heavenly Tao fragment world of heavenly Tao. To be expelled from the world of heavenly Tao fragments, how could Yi Tian take more than a year? This broke the limitation of the world of heavenly Tao fragments. Did Yi Tian enter a strange place, which is not restricted by the Tao of heaven, so he can stay in the fragmented world of the Tao of heaven all the time? Qingwang Supreme guessed. Is there such a place in the world of heavenly Tao fragments? Since the human race discovered the world of heavenly Tao fragments, no one has discovered such a place. Kunwu Supreme said. In any case, one thing is certain, that is Yi Tian is fine. Let's wait slowly, maybe Yi Tian will come back soon. When that time comes, let's ask about the situation again. Supreme Curse proposed. That's all. Kunwu Supreme nodded. Time passed slowly, and in the blink of an eye, Yi Tian stayed in the world of heavenly Tao fragments for another 2 years. In the past 2 years, Yamaha took Yi Tian to many virtual world areas, giving Yi Tian a deep understanding of the virtual world area, and also went to many strange places, and some places even helped a lot in cultivation. Big. But even so, the virtual world area that Yamasan visited was only a drop in the ocean. This day, Yi Tian said goodbye to Yamasan. Yamasan, I'm going to leave first. Okay, I have to go back and refine the heavenly Tao Muxin. Yama nodded 3 times. Immediately, Yamasan sent Yi Tian back to the virtual world area where he was before, so that after leaving the virtual world, he would return to the place he entered, which is due to the rules of the virtual world. After sending Yi Tian back, Yamasan left. After Yamasan left, Yi Tian put all the heavenly Tao Yi in his ancient chaotic world, and blocked the heavenly Tao Yi with the power of Chaos Black Lotus. Without the protection of Tian Tao Yi, Yi Tian was unable to compete with the virtual world, and was rejected by the virtual world. Swish! Yi Tian felt a huge repulsive force and entered a space tunnel uncontrollably. In a blink of an eye, Yi Tian found that he had left the virtual world and returned to the main space of the universe. Suddenly, a voice came. Your Highness, you are finally back. Yi Tian took a closer look, and it turned out to be his own bodyguard, the Master of Darkness. Well, come back, let's go back to the Supreme Palace of the human race. Yi Tian said lightly. Yes, the Dark Lord nodded in response. It didn't take long for Yi Tian and the Dark Lord to return to the human race Supreme Hall. The first time, Kunwu Supreme summoned Yi Tian. Kunwu Palace. Yi Tian stood in front of several Supremes, waiting for their questions. He is very clear CJFH that these Supreme beings have many doubts now, such as why he can stay in the world of Tiandao fragments for a few years, where he has been in the past few years, what he has done, and so on. Kunwu Supreme stared at Yi Tian, scrutinized for a while, and then said, Yi Tian, you have stayed in the world of heavenly Tao fragments for several years, how did you stay in the Supreme Hall of human race? If it is inconvenient to say, we will not pass ask more. Yi Tian hurriedly said. Kunwu Supreme, actually there is nothing that can't be said, the reason why I can stay in the world of heavenly Tao fragments for a few years is because of this thing. Yi Tian took out the heavenly Tao leaf and handed it over to Kunwu Supreme, saying, this leaf is called the heavenly Tao leaf, it is the leaf from the heavenly Tao tree, it can make a creature stay in the heavenly Tao fragment world forever, and it will not repel from the virtual world. 1. What, there is such a thing? Kunwu Supreme, they were shocked. Immediately, they carefully studied the heavenly Tao leaf. With the power of the heavenly Tao, this thing should be born from the heavenly Tao fragment world, and what is the matter of the heavenly Tao tree you just mentioned? Kunwu Supreme asked curiously. Then, Yi Tian briefly explained the situation. Of course, he won't tell the truth completely, otherwise some things can't be explained. Such as the Hulk. Kunwu Supreme and others may know Shu Kun. If he said that he and Shu Kun entered the Shu Kun clan together, how could he explain that he gained Shu Kun's trust? Camouflage. Don't be kidding, if you don't have the talent for sharing information, no matter how you pretend, you will be discovered by Shu Kun. And as a human, how can we have the gift of information sharing? Therefore, he must not reveal that he has used Shu Kun's help. So, Yi Tian said that he met a dead Shu Kun, obtained some inheritance from the inner space of Shu Kun, knew the situation of the virtual world, and then obtained the heavenly Tao leaf, and survived in the virtual world with the help of the power of the heavenly Tao leaf. It has been a long time, and I have obtained a lot of Tiandao words. Kunwu Supreme, this is the remaining heavenly Tao leaf, I am going to dedicate it to the human race. Yi Tian took out nearly 1,000 heavenly Tao leaves, and left only a little. Then, Yi Tian recorded the basic information about the virtual world into a message and gave it to the Supreme Kunwu. Yi Tian, the information you have said is very important, and it is of great help for our human race to enter the virtual world. Nowadays, even the gods don't know much about the virtual world, and our human race's exploration of the virtual world has come to an end. The forefront of the big clan in the universe. Kunwu Supreme said excitedly. Next, Kunwu Supreme and the others asked about the situation, and Yi Tian answered them one by one. But from the beginning to the end, Yi Tian did not disclose the matter of Tiandao Jinye and Tiandao Muxin. After all, Tiandao Jinye is of great help to Yi Tian, while Tiandao Muxin is useless to him, but it is very important to everyone in Tianj. Although he has the ability to deprive him, he must not use this ability much except for those close to him, otherwise it will be very troublesome if it is exposed. Moreover, depriving the gift of ability is not something out of nothing, it still requires the talent of others. Unless it is Yi Tian's enemy, he will not display such an ability. And Tiandao Muxin has nothing to worry about, so you can use it with confidence. Subsequently, Yi Tian left the Kunwu Palace and returned to the Zon level area of the Supreme Palace of the human race. For the first time, Yi Tian used a lot of points to exchange for a great space supernatural power, the Spear of Hell God. The power of this great supernatural power is extremely terrifying, and it has a terrifying tearing power. Once the enemy is hit by the spear of the gods of hell, the body will be torn into countless years by the power of the terrifying space law, and sent into many spaces. Deep down, it can't heal at all. It can be said that even a person who is almost immortal, once hit by the space supernatural power, will not be able to recover without death, which is equivalent to being divided and sealed in hundreds of millions of spaces. Yi Tian exchanged. The door is empty, but he wants to practice. However, he now only has one text of the heaven of the sky. If he has several texts of the heaven of the sky, he can directly practice the great supernatural powers of space, and he will be able to practice successfully soon. But now, Yi Tian, who has only one script of the heaven of the sky, can only slowly use this script of the heaven of the sky and the law of space, and rely on the long years to slowly comprehend the great power of space, which is also the great power of cultivation space. One of the many ways. Chapter 559 The Difficulty of the Yun Family. Goodbye Yunshi. One more. Let's just slowly comprehend the great supernatural power of space, the spear of hell god of the sky. The text of the sky is too rare. This time I can get one as due to luck. It is almost unrealistic to want to get a few more. I only to slowly comprehend the spear of the gods of hell. This is the only way at present. Yi Tian thought to himself. In the days that followed, Yi Tian practiced in seclusion and practiced obediently. While comprehending the supernatural powers of space, he also practiced in other areas. His current combat power has reached an unbelievable level. If His Highness at the supreme level is classified, he is definitely a top class, but even so, Yi Tian does not dare to attack the true god level immediately. He plans to improve some strengths to deal with the true god level thunder tribulation. Next, Yi Tian's main goal is to compress the immortal power, perfect the divine tome secret technique such as primordial scale armor, and perfect the unique technique of the Tianyu saber. Although Yi Tian created the peak level swordsmanship, the Tianyu saber, the moon sword is far from reaching the level of the strongest peak level swordsmanship, and Yi Tian is walking the supreme sword. Perfecting the Tianyu knife to the strongest peak level Tao of the blade mastery, this Tao of the blade mastery is somewhat imperfect. In order to create the strongest peak level Tao of the blade secret, Yi Tian still needs to meet a condition, that is, to condense the source of the law of the blade that belongs to him. Once this level is reached, Yi Tian will be able to exert the power of the Tianyu saber's unique technique even if he is in an area isolated by laws. There are also many treasures of the Tao of the blade that are suitable for the Tao of the blade expert to participate in the Zon level area. Although Yi Tian is not very helpful, Yi Tian still often goes to learn about it. The Tao of the blade is steadily progressing. But the speed of progress is still too slow, and it is still far from perfecting the unique skills of the Tao of the blade to the strongest level of the peak level. It would be great if I could enter the sword mount again. Yi Tian thought to himself. But this can only be thought about it, even the inheritance Daozi of the 9 supreme level forces can only enter the knife mount once, and he, an outsider, is naturally not allowed to enter the knife mount again. Therefore, Yi Tian needs other opportunities to perfect the Tianyu saber to the strongest peak level swordsmanship in a short period of time. In the following days, Yi Tian returned to Earth. This time, he mainly kept Tiandao Muxin in Tianj, and raised the talents of several important members of Tianj to chaos-level cultivation talents one by one. All geniuses with chaotic cultivation talent can cultivate to the realm of domination in the future. And half of the heavenly Dao Muxin can cast a total of 5 chaos-level cultivation talents, that is to say, in addition to him, Tianj can give birth to 5 masters in the future. In the entire human race, it is also very rare to have 5 dominant forces. It can be said that the half-section of the heavenly Dao Muxin has instantly improved the foundation of the heavenly pavilion by many levels. This day, Yi Tian had just stayed on Earth for a while, and was about to leave when a former deceased came to Earth. Yunshi. Yi Tian saw Yunshi in front of him, and recalled various scenes from the past in his mind. Speaking of which, he and Yunshi were just a cooperative relationship at the beginning, but the two were barely friends. I thought that there would be no chance to meet each other in the future, but Yunshi came to Earth unexpectedly. I have seen His Highness Wanfa. When Yunshi saw Yi Tian, she bent down and said. Although there was a smile on her face, there was a hint of sadness and urgency in her smile. Obviously, Yunshi came to Earth this time not to reminisce, but to ask for help. Although Yunshi was already a god-level powerhouse of the 5th order god level at this time, the gap between him and Yi Tian was too great, and the status of the two was also different from before. In the past, Yunshi was the eldest young lady of the Yun family in the Milky Way, while Yi Tian was just a genius with no background. But now, Yi Tian is the famous His Highness of 10,000 laws, and his status is even comparable to that of the ruler, but Yun Zai's status is still the same. Therefore, Yunshi faced Yi Tian with many constraints, even very nervous. Yunshi, tell me, what's the matter with coming to Earth? Yi Tian asked. Yunshi gritted her teeth and explained everything one by one. It turned out that more than 100 years ago, Yunshi, with the strength of the 8-star peerless genius, achieved very superior results in a competition of the major branches of the Yun family, and finally returned the Yun family of the Milky Way to the Ganges River system. But Yunshi, this branch of the Yun family, is weak after all, and cannot compete with the Yunxing Yun family in the Ganges Panhe system. Even among the many branches, this branch of Yunshi is considered to be very weak. Therefore, this branch of Yunshi can only join other branches of the Yun family and report to each other. However, not long ago, the Immortal Clan plan began to be fully implemented, from the highest supreme level forces, dominant level forces, and overlord level forces to the forces below it began to transform step by step. Ask for flowers. And the Panyan Nebula family is a pseudo 8-star force anyway, so the Panyan Nebula family has become the first Yun family branch to transform the Immortal Clan among the many branches of the Yun family. After Panyan Xingyan's family was transformed into an Immortal Clan, their strength rose sharply, and great god-level powerhouses kept appearing. Because the Panyan Xingyan family has many powerhouses at the peak of the true god level, it is only because the talent is not enough, although there is no way to be promoted to the great god level. But now, they have transformed into immortals, and very few of the true god level peak powerhouses have improved their talents by a level, so they have instantly entered the ranks of the great god level powerhouses. With many great gods, the Yun family also met the requirements of the 8-star power, and was successfully promoted to the 8-star power. More importantly, an ancestor of the Yun family was lucky enough to step into the galaxy level and suddenly became a pseudo 9-star force. Point 0. There are not many galaxy-level powerhouses in the Panyan Nebula family, and they cannot meet the requirements for promotion to the 9-star power in a short period of time, so the Panyan Xingyan family wanted to annex other branches of the Yun family, thus integrating the entire Yun family and making the Panyan family Yun family a true 9-star power. If the Panyan Xingyan family was friendly, it would be fine, but the Panyan Xingyan family and Yunshi have a great hatred, and they put forward very harsh conditions, making Yun Zai's ancestor Yun Lao 3 kneels and kowtows and admits his mistakes. Allow this branch of Yunshi to survive and merge into the Yun family, otherwise, this branch of Yunshi will be wiped out. But in fact, the possibility of Panyan Xingyan's family destroying Yunshi's branch is more likely, and the so-called kowtow admitting mistakes is just a deliberate humiliation. Elder Yun knew very well that this branch could not compete with the Panyan Xingyan family at all, and even the many branches of the Yun family could not compete against each other. Because the Xinghe level power was born in the Panyan Nebula clan, the other branches of the Yun clan were simply unable to fight against each other. So, Lao Lao asked Yunshi to come to Earth and ask Tianj for help. Really speaking, it is to ask Yi Tian for help. It's just that Yun didn't know where Yi Tian was and could not reach the heavenly pavilion. Yun Zai's luck was good, Yi Tian happened to be in the heavenly pavilion. Your Highness Wanfa, I beg you to save our Yun family. The ancestor said that you are the envoy of the town, and even Panyan Xingyan family can't help you. If you are willing to take action, our Yun family can survive. Whatever request you have, the Yun family and I agree. Yun Shi bowed and prayed for justice. Chapter 560 The Performance of Jinshin Zhenjin. Open black lens bracket second update close black lens bracket. Looking at Yun Shi who was bowing, Yi Tian said quickly, get up. I can help you. 1. Thank you, Your Highness Wanfa, I don't know what His Highness Wanfa wants, just mention it. Yun Shi said, we don't need any compensation, after all, we are also friends. Yi Tian smiled slightly, if he really wanted a reward, with the background of the Yun family, he couldn't come up with a treasure that would satisfy him now. After all, with his current status and vision, ordinary treasures are not acceptable at all, and even ordinary Tiandao characters are not despised. As for the Yun family, it is estimated that even the most common Tiandao text cannot be obtained. Even if there is a Tiandao text, once it is exposed, the Yun family cannot keep the Tiandao text. It can be said that the Yun family is too weak in Yi Tian's eyes. If Yun Shi hadn't come to beg him, otherwise his eyes would not have been fixed on such a small force as the Yun family. Yi Tian didn't let Yun Shi wait too long, and soon took Yun Shi to his spaceship to go to the location of the Yun family in the Ganges River system. Ganges, Saros. This galaxy is a relatively small galaxy in the Ganges River system, and there are not many resources, but compared to other river systems, the 950 Saros galaxy is undoubtedly a rich place. This place was occupied by the Yun family from the Milky Way more than 100 years ago and became the residence of Yun Shi's lineage. At this point, Yun Shi's lineage has also become the Shaluo Yun family. But now, the Shaluo Yun family is surrounded by the Panyan Xingyan family, and even several teleportation formations have been monitored or destroyed. Under such siege, a large number of people from the Shaluo Yun family could not leave at all. Before, Yun Shi could use it, but only by using one of Yun Lao's secret treasures before he could send Yun Shi away, but there was only one such secret treasure, and once it was used, it would be useless. Sarah Star. Yun Lao looked up to the sky and sighed, girl Yun Shi, everything is on you. Panyan Xingyan's patience is limited. I'm afraid they will persecute us in a few days. The other side. Outside the Sarah galaxy, a large number of space battleships are docked everywhere to monitor the entire Sarah galaxy. On one of the space battleships, Yun Zhen, the chief elder of the Yun family, is also here. Yun Zhen's strength ranked in the top 3 in the Yun family. Now that he has transformed into an immortal clan, his cultivation speed has accelerated a lot. He has now reached the 8th rank of galaxy level, and he is only one step away from the 9th rank of galaxy level. Of course, with his talent, the 9th order of the galaxy level is the limit. And Yun Chen's cultivation base is only the 3rd rank of galaxy level, and Yun Chen's other talents are not as good as him, so his overall strength is much weaker than Yun Zhen. Even if the Yun family's Xinghe level power didn't come this time, the elder Yun Zhen alone would be enough to shock the Shaluo Yun family, and the strength of Yun Chen alone would not be enough to compete with the Panyan Xingyan family. Elder Yun Zhen, the Shaluo Yun family hasn't responded to the news yet. If the Shaluo Yun family really surrenders, Yun Chen is also willing to kowtow to admit their mistakes. If I beg us, should we really let the Shaluo Yun family go? The Yun family has a deep hatred. If you let the Shaluo Yun family go, you might have trouble in the future. Asked a great god-level elder next to the great elder Yun Zhen. HMPH, how can I let Yun Chen and Shaluo Yun's family go? I just want to see that guy Yun Chen kneeling down and begging for mercy. Isn't he always arrogant? I just want to completely annihilate his arrogance and give it to him hope, let him despair in the end. Elder Yun Zhen laughed loudly. Time passed by and the deadline was getting closer. Yun Chen has not given any reply. In addition, the other branches of the Yun family have a tendency to join forces. The Yun family needs to make a complete and heavy blow to the other branches of the Yun family. As the main force of the Yun family, the elder Yun Zhen naturally has to return to the main battlefield as soon as possible, and the Shaluo Yun family is just a small branch. If too much time is wasted here, it will affect the plan of the Panyan Xingyan family. Then, the elder Yun Zhen was not ready to wait any longer, and he directly led a fleet to Star Shaluo. The purpose of the fleet is not to attack, but to prevent the rest of the Shaluo Yun family from escaping. The real ones are Yun Zhen and some great god-level powerhouses. Soon, the fleet arrived near the Shaluo Star. The elder Yun Zhen flew outside the Shaluo Star, and the sound entered the Shaluo Star. Yun Chen, I didn't have the patience to wait any longer. Tell me your choice. If you choose to kowtow to admit your mistake and beg me, I may let you go. If you don't want to, I will kill you now. Elder Yunzhen threatened. Swish. Yunchen flew out from Shaluo Xing. If it didn't fly out, if Yunchen and the battleship attacked Shaluo Xing would not be able to resist, and would directly explode and destroy it. At that time, only the warriors above the great god level will survive, and all the other warriors will fall into the explosion of the Shaluo star. Therefore, Yunchen could only face the elder Yunzhen head-on. Looking at the ruthless elder Yunzhen, Yunchen sighed. Yunzhen, I know you really want to kill me. Even if I kowtow and admit my mistake, you probably won't let me go. If you I swear not to embarrass the rest of the Shaluo Yun family, I can do what you want, even commit suicide. 1. Swear. Yunzhen sneered secretly, how could he possibly swear? I'm sorry, I never wanted to let go of your branch from beginning to end. I was worried about other branches of the Yun family, so I never dared to destroy this branch of yours, but now the other branches are unable to stop our Panyan Xingyan family's offensive, not to mention your little branch. After today, the Shaluo Yun family will cease to exist. Yunzhen made an announcement. The next moment, he shot. I saw Yunzhen slap lightly, directly knocking Yunchen out. Puff. Yunchen flew upside down for hundreds of miles, constantly vomiting blood, and his entire body was almost pierced. With just one move, he couldn't bear it, and fell into the starry sky with serious injuries. Too weak, Yunzhen said proudly. I am an immortal now, haha, within the same rank, my physical strength and immortal strength are far greater than before, if you can survive, you can also become immortal in the future. Clan, it's a pity you have no hope. Just then, who says he has no hope of becoming a fairy? Hearing this voice, Yunzhen said angrily, who dares to interfere in our Yun family's affairs? He was really angry. This place has been blocked by the Yun family, and other forces will basically give face to the Yun family, who will be promoted to the 9-star force, and will not care about the battles of the Yun family. But now, someone has trespassed without authorization, which is undoubtedly a disgrace to the Yun family. Wow, a spaceship appeared not far away. The spaceship was very advanced, so it easily broke through the blockade. Woohoo, 2 people got off the spaceship, one was Yi Tian and the other was Yun Shi. Elder Yunzhen knew Yi Tian, and when he saw Yi Tian, he frowned and said, Your Highness Wanfa, do you have to help the Yun family? At the beginning, Yi Tian had a conflict with the Pan-Yun Xingyan family, and Yi Tian also killed many geniuses of the Yun family. The elder Yunzhen naturally hated Yi Tian very much, but Yi Tian became the son of the universe and entered the Supreme Hall of the human race. He didn't know much about the Supreme Hall of the human race, but the identity of the son of the universe was too amazing, and he was blessed by the high-level human race, so he did not dare to offend Yi Tian. As for the identity of Yi Tian's emissary, only the 4 overlord-level forces and a few 9-star forces know about it. Yun Chen, who was fortunate enough to see Yi Tian mobilizing the emissary token of the town, also knew about it. But Yun really doesn't know. If he knew that Yi Tian was the envoy of the town, he would beg for mercy immediately. That's right, I just want to bless the Yun family and give me a face, that's all. 1. Yi Tian said lightly, I'm sorry, Your Highness Wanfa, I can't give you this face. Yunzhen refused directly, looks like you want to die. Yi Tian revealed a ray of murderous intent. He himself was very unhappy with Yunzhen, and the 2 of them were in conflict, but he just disdained to deal with a small fish like Yunzhen, but he didn't expect Yunzhen to be so disrespectful, so he couldn't blame him. True monarch Jin Chen, can you do it by killing him? 5.7 Yi Tian said. Swish, a figure flew out from the inside of the spaceship, and it was Jin Chen Zhenjin, one of Yi Tian's guards. Subordinates promised to complete the task. True monarch Jin Chen assured. He knew very well that Yi Tian still had a master guard and 10 cosmic god guards. His strength was too low for Yi Tian, and he usually had no chance to perform. This time, he must perform well. In terms of cultivation, he is the 9th rank of God level, and he has also practiced many powerful secret techniques of the Supreme Hall of the human race. He is also the first batch of people to transform into the immortal race, and even practice the immortal race secret technique newly created by the high-level human race. Therefore, his combat power is far superior to before, and he has full confidence in defeating the elder Yunzhen. God level 9th level galaxy level powerhouse. Yunzhen's pupils also shrank. He never expected Yi Tian to have such a powerful bodyguard, and he became a little dignified for a while. But when he thought that he had a galaxy-level power behind him, he was not afraid at all. Swish, Jin Chen Zhenjin rushed over and fought with the elder Yunzhen. As for Yi Tian, he stood there and seemed not to be nervous at all.